Part 106. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan ERWR. Chapter 1052. There was deathly silence here, especially since most of the corpses that died under the impact of heavy mechas were incomplete. The place exuded a strong smell of blood, which made people want to vomit. While Gu Chen collected the remaining energy factors around him and asked them to be analyzed by the mecha, he also searched for survivors. However, the intelligence in the mecha did not collect the fluctuations of living people. Gu Chen originally knew about the mission of the Twin Stars. Xiao Yu even came under his arrangement. The warriors in the mecha sent a message saying that something happened here. When he met a master, Gu Chen got the news. I rushed over, but I didn't expect to be late. The original warriors here have been killed without leaving a trace alive, which proves that what this mecha warrior said is true. There is indeed a high-level warrior among these sea-level hunters. Gu Chen first walked to the heavy mecha. The first thing he saw was Xiao Yu, who was lying on his back and already lifeless. There was a big hole in his chest, and a sharp ice pick pierced his body. Under the heavy mecha, the ice that Lily used to freeze the mecha has not yet melted. As her strength increases, the ice converted from her spiritual power is no longer as vulnerable as it was at the beginning. Gu Chen's pupils were constricted and his face was covered with frost. He quickly entered the heavy mecha, but there was no one inside. The soldier operating the mecha was just hanging his head on the fixed leather chair, and his blood was flowing all over his combat uniform. They were all, with a huge incision cut open in the neck, and a pair of eyes staring, still retaining the fear before death. The operation table was in a mess, and all the equipment had been destroyed. Some of the exploded equipment still contained unfinished ice slag, and there was a blood-stained ice blade on the chair. Gu Chen picked it up. Pick it up carefully and prepare to take it back for inspection. Although the hunters this time are all wearing uniforms and wearing gloves on their hands, they may not be able to extract blood, hair, etc., but some of her energy factors may remain. This mecha had been scrapped. Gu Chen looked around and after confirming that no one was around, he snorted, "Superpower. It can easily kill so many people and move within an instant." Coupled with the evidence left at the scene, Gu Chen deduced that this should be a superpower, and it was an ice superpower of a high level and with considerable lethality. Judging from the ice superpowers it released, they are at least above the 5th level and may even reach the 6th level. There are not many people with superpowers in the galaxy. Among the countless planets in this interstellar space, there are only a handful of planets where superpowers can be awakened. His beloved wife Wafwi's original home planet Pluto was one of them. It is precisely because superpowers are so powerful and lethal that the Milky Way has registered every superpower, especially those with level 5 or above. Not only the Star Alliance, but also other planets in the galaxy are consciously collecting information on these people, but no one knows who the superpower is. He actually got mixed up among the C-class hunters. At this time, these people seem to have died not long ago, and since this person killed people and silenced them, he must have concealed his identity. Gu Chen collected the information and quickly left the mecha cabin, preparing to pursue him and go out to see if he could meet the superpower. There are no means of transportation around for him to drive. Based on his physical strength alone, this superhuman cannot run very far. His mecha is very light because it is driven by a single person. It's definitely faster than humans. Quickly, the sound of the mecha breaking through the air sounded, and it quickly flew into the distance, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Gu Chen never thought in his wildest dreams that Lily, who had killed and silenced people, not only did not escape. Instead, he will go to the Twin Star Palace. Lily missed him and ran towards the palace. At this time, as she expected, the palace was already in chaos. Although Xiao Yu did not admit it when Lily told her speculation before, the forces of the Free Army and the royal family had indeed become one at this time. What surprised Lily was that due to the struggle for power between the Free Army and the royal family, some defense systems and monitoring systems controlled by many intelligences had been cut off. She successfully entered through the side door of the palace, not even a guard was present along the way. Did not see it. The spaceship that brought her to the Twin Stars was parked in the Mecha platform. Lily found the one she was on that day. The door of the spaceship was locked. Because the largest intelligence in the Twin Stars had shut down the defense system, she could easily he used violence to open the hatch and entered the cabin without being attacked by the spacecraft's own defense system. Just as Lily guessed, this time the twins came to pick up these sea-level bounty hunters, and they didn't have any good intentions. In the eyes of the people in the twins, these sea-level hunters would die sooner or later, so some data chips in the spacecraft were still stored in the spacecraft and had not been transferred to the Twin Stars General Intelligence Library. Lily took them out and destroyed them. When she was about to snatch the spacecraft and leave the Twin Stars, a sudden transmission occurred in the defense system. The siren sounded, and the Mecha was coming this way. The emergence of Mechas makes the defense system of the twin planets once again controlled by intelligence. Once controlled by intelligence, as long as it does not leave the territory of the twin planets, the command will automatically be taken over by the general intelligence. Lily cannot leave the territory of the twin planets at all. The most important thing is that she will be locked in the spacecraft cabin. Even if she can destroy the spacecraft and escape, as soon as she finds an intruder, a large number of escorts will come. The danger is not necessarily dangerous, but it will definitely be more troublesome than now. As soon as Lily thought of this, when the alarm sounded, she dodged and left the spaceship cabin without hesitation. As soon as she stepped out of the hatch, the originally opened door was closed with a bang. She originally wanted to leave the palace, but not far away, a small Mecha rushed towards her quickly. The defense system was fully activated, and a large number of dense and invisible the photoelectric network formed a solid wall, blocking not only the Mecha's way in, but also blocking Lily's way out. This kind of power grid is the ultimate protection unique to every planetary government. In fact, it was invented by scientists based on the concept of the photoelectric effect. Each thin ray of light contains an extremely lethal current. It is known as the latest nano-weapon in the past few hundred years. One of them is far more lethal than the infrared rays of early antiquity. Once it is irradiated, even the hardest defensive armor will be reduced to ashes. It's just that such a defense system consumes a lot of money, so it's not suitable for large-scale applications yet. The governments of various planets only use it for defense and don't turn it on easily. This time, I don't know who the person in the Mecha is. This will allow a defense system that is rarely activated once in 100 years to be deployed. As soon as Lily saw this so-called ultimate protection system turned on, she turned around and headed towards the palace without hesitation. Although she was confident in her own strength, she was not stupid. She broke into the palace. There were a large number of corpses of guards lying in the palace. Some intelligent robots had been paralyzed due to insufficient intelligence control authority of the Twin Stars. They just randomly, as the general intelligence gradually regained control, the electronic red light in the eyes of these robots began to flash again. The door of the Parliament Hall she had been to that day was ajar. She pushed the door open and barged in. There was actually a living person inside. When they heard the movement at the door, the people inside were obviously startled and subconsciously turned their heads to take a look. The ice and snow spread on Lily's face, avoiding her nostrils and eyes, covering her face with a layer of frost, covering her true face. C-Class Hunter, Queen, in the Parliament Hall, the royal family and the Free Army were standing in two factions. The elegant and cold emperor whom he saw yesterday was now full of gloom, and the fierce and violent Free Army commander Jiju was standing there. Holding a nearly 2-meter-long silver spear-like weapon in his hand, he stood in front of the emperor with sweat on his face. The men on both sides stood in 2 rows. Even the A-level high-level hunters who did not follow Lily and other C-level hunters to die today were divided into two groups and stood silently behind these two people. When did the Free Army's strength become so useless that they wanted to eliminate C-class hunters and start a civil war, but now there are still fish that slip through the net and escape? Jiju, you are old, why don't you let me give you a ride? Emperor sneering, he quickly moved his eyes away from Lily, and began to laugh at the commander of the Free Army who was holding the silver spear. The commander raised the spear at an extremely slow speed. With such a simple movement, his forehead was covered with dense beads of sweat. He seemed to be in a special environment. Lily also felt the energy fluctuations in the palace. She remembered the unique domain attack method of the Twin Star royal family and suddenly understood in her heart. Originally, Lily had no intention of getting involved in the struggle between the two factions, but she wanted to send him so much, but he was not necessarily willing to let her go. After being laughed at by the emperor, the commander-in-chief seemed to feel extremely angry. He slowly moved his chin, with a cruel look in his eyes. A Free Army soldier standing behind him saw his expression and understood the commander's character. He clenched his fist and walked towards Lily. Lily frowned, but her true expression was hidden by the ice down, making it difficult to see clearly. Before the Free Army soldier could reach Lily, Lily suddenly stepped aside, and with a bang, the door was knocked open from the outside to the inside. The door of the Parliament Hall was almost deformed by the impact, and it fell to the side. On the side, Gu Chen, wearing a soft mecha, appeared at the door. Everyone was surprised and delighted by his appearance. The royal family was surprised, but the Free Army faction was happy. "Mr. Gu, you came just in time, come and help me." Jiju's eyes were filled with joy. Gu Chen's face was covered with frost at the door. He had chased the ice power user out before, but he chased him very far and found some life signals, but he couldn't find any life signals. Not human, and he found the bodies of many Free Army fighters, who had obviously been slaughtered. He realized something was wrong and turned around, but the defense system of the Twin Star Palace was turned on again. He finally managed to break in, but the price he paid was that the mecha he was driving was completely destroyed in the ultimate defense. He was the only one left alive. To be continued. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan ERWR. Chapter 1053. When Lily saw Gu Chen appear, she knew that the mecha that had just been blocked from the system was most likely piloted by Gu Chen. However, this man could break through the defense system and enter the palace. His strength should not be underestimated. She backed away after 2 steps. When Gu Chen heard Jiju shouting, he was about to move when he saw Lily from the corner of his eye. He saw the ice on Lily's face at a glance, and naturally he also saw the sea-level hair on Lily's body. The hunter's combat uniform, the ice energy was exactly the same as the ice energy found in the previous battlefield, and she was a sea-level hunter. At this time, Gu Chen curled his lips, and without thinking, he ducked and rushed towards Lily. "You are really good at hiding, but you have fallen into a trap. This was really hard to find, and it took no effort to get there." Who would have thought that the mouse he had been hunting for had slipped back into the palace under his nose? Gu Chen felt a sense of intellectual frustration in his heart. When the emperor saw him appearing, his face showed a bit of nervousness and his body trembled. Due to this tremor, a gap appeared in the domain he created. At the right opportunity, the tip of the spear almost hit his throat. The emperor came back to his senses urgently, changed his posture, and once again defended his territory. The movement of Jiju was once again fixed. He looked at Gu Chen anxiously, not understanding the man he had spent a great deal of money to bring back. How could the Alliance General give up helping him and attack a sea-level hunter instead? It is more than enough for any of his subordinates to deal with a mere sea-level hunter, so there is no need to trouble Gu Chen to deal with him. He is putting the cart before the horse. If Jiju was not trapped in the domain at this time, he would have gone into a rage. When Gu Chen attacked her, Lily tried to dodge. But his skills were already superb, and with the assistance of the mecha, his movements were enhanced several times, not only in terms of speed but also strength. This punch that was visible to the naked eye actually blocked all her escape routes. The power of this punch was strengthened by the soft mecha, and was much heavier than his own strength. As soon as Lily saw Gu Chen punching and coming back from outside, she guessed that he should have gone outside the battlefield first. Maybe he had seen the corpses of Xiao Yu and others and discovered his identity as a superpower. With this thought, Lily no longer concealed anything, and when she couldn't avoid it, she spread her hands. It was as if the door was wide open, but in her hands it was like drawing a net, and soon a strong ice shield was deployed in an instant with her movements. With a bang sound, Gu Chen's fist hit the ice shield hard. Under this terrifying force, Lily's body was quickly hit and she retreated backwards. The ice shield on her hand cracked like spider silk. Crack. However, with the influx and replenishment of a large amount of spiritual power, the surface of the ice shield destroyed by Gu Chen was completely repaired at a speed that could not be caught by the naked eye. A punch hit, but besides knocking the person back, it failed to penetrate the ice shield. Gu Chen thought that if his punch had hit the mecha, it would probably have been hit by a mecha with slightly inferior materials. A groove was punched out by his punch. At this time, he retracted his hand and laughed hee twice. "It's really you." Ice power, gasps sounded one after another in the Congress Hall. Jiju's face changed from disdain to ugly at the beginning, while the Emperor's original gloomy face changed from shock to surprise at the beginning. He could hardly control his laughter. "Fortunately, I just used Lily to mock Jiju before, and I didn't have time to find someone to teach her a lesson." At this time, Gu Chen's words when he came into Jiju made it clear that Gu Chen was on Jiju's side. With the addition of such a powerful enemy as Gu Chen, the Emperor was originally worried and anxious. But now Gu Chen's behavior of attacking Lily as soon as he came in was a disguised form of forcing Lily to his side, even though this queen who suddenly appeared out of nowhere had no intention of helping him. But as long as she can restrain Gu Chen's actions, what the Free Army wants to plan this time may not come true. Thinking of this, the Emperor beamed with joy, and the pressure of you that he was using at the moment was even more overwhelming. Even the silver gun he held in his hand was under the pressure of you several times, and almost stabbed himself. "If you can dodge my blow, come again." Gu Chen punched the ice shield at this time, quickly retracted his fist, and punched again. Although he is a 5-star warrior in the alliance, Lily is not necessarily afraid of him. Even if he has a soft mecha with him at this time, she is not without a trump card. At this critical moment, Lily shook her hand. The solid shield in her hand gradually became thinner and turned into an ice spear. She caught it in her hand and attacked Gu Chen first without waiting for him to take action. Gu Chen didn't expect that the superpower would give up his ice power and looked like he wanted to compete with him. He couldn't help but sneered. He made a fist with his right hand and shot out with his right hand like lightning, holding the ice gun in his palm. With a forceful snap, under his influence, the ice spear, which was originally generated by Lily's spiritual power and was far stronger than the ice created by the same 4th-level power, broke with a clang sound, and at the same time, he rushed toward Lily with his fist. I want to see which high-level superpower the sea-level queen is disguised under this ice. Although people with supernatural powers and mental powers have certain innate advantages, they also have a fatal disadvantage, that is, their bodies are generally not strong. Gu Chen is a master of physical arts, and his level is not low. In addition, he was wearing a soft mecha. He originally thought that he would hit Lily this time, but he didn't expect that the moment he broke the ice gun, Lily's hand shook, and the broken gun body gushed out again. The tip of the spear, and this time it did not extend straight out, but like a soft and sinister snake, wrapped around his neck, the target seemed to be fixed in his eyes. This is the most annoying thing about people with superpowers. Their attacks are always unexpected. Gu Chen raised his eyebrows. The attacks of people with superpowers are extremely lethal, but he is confident that when the tip of the spear pierces his eyes, he was able to knock Lily to the ground, but the moment after his fist came out, Lily's original posture of holding the gun with both hands changed to one hand, and the other hand was freed like him, and she opened her palm as if to catch his fist. Gu Chen sneered twice, "You are not overestimating your own abilities." As soon as he finished speaking, there was a soft bang sound. The moment his fist and the palm of his hand touched, Gu Chen originally thought that his fist would smash the bones of the blocking palm like a broken bamboo, but the next moment a huge force the power came from this palm, not only blocking his palm, but also it seemed that the hunter named Queen had no intention of competing with him for strength, so she grabbed his hand and turned it hard. If the two of them were to compete purely on strength, she might not be able to beat herself with a soft mecha, but now she just wants to deflect her own strength, which is much easier than blocking him. Gu Chen's body tilted subconsciously, but the next moment he saw that the ice spikes originally wrapped around his neck had quickly spread to his face. There was a soft puff sound. In the critical moment, he instinctively raised his head and hid. But the speed of the supernatural power was always a little faster, so he couldn't dodge them all. The soft mecha on his face didn't protect him much. He avoided the blow to the eye, but he couldn't avoid the blow to the cheek. The sharp end of the ice pierced into the flesh, and with a chip, his face was cut with a bloody mouth about 2 to 3 inches deep. Before the blood could gush out, it was already frozen by the ice. Gu Chen, even before I felt the pain on my face, I only noticed that my face was cold and the hairs on my face had already stood up. He punched Lily quickly, and in an instant he retracted his arm that was blocked by her, broke the ice spear she had wrapped around him, and quickly stepped back 7 or 8 steps before reaching out. Touching his face, his eyes were gloomy. Superpower person? Physical practitioner, Gu Chen was shocked and angry at this time. He really didn't expect that such a fierce figure would appear among the sea-level hunters. He originally thought that such a high-level superpower person had already it's extremely rare, but he didn't expect that the superpower codenamed Queen not only had extremely high-level ice superpowers, but was also a master of physical skills. He suffered a big loss without noticing, and now he has scars on his face. Hurt? It has been many years. As a proud man of heaven, Gu Chen has very few people who can take credit for him. Especially with the cooperation of this soft mecha, his strength has been enhanced several times. This time Gu Chen suffered a loss due to his carelessness, and murderous intent surged in his heart. When his hand touched the piece of ice on his face, he wiped the ice cube off. The hard ice was crushed in his palm, and the marks on his cheeks, the wound that had been sealed by ice opened due to his tearing, and the blood that had been blocked began to slowly flow down his cheek. Gu Chen's eyebrows were sharper than before. He stretched out the back of his hand to wipe the injury on his face. He felt a stinging pain. Not only was his face stained, but he was also really frustrated in his heart. A double-level master is actually disguised as a sea-level hunter. He didn't believe that the person in front of him was just an unknown person. There were few people with supernatural powers in the galaxy, and even fewer people who practiced both supernatural powers and physical skills at the same time. After all, the lethality of superpowers is already powerful enough. If people who have awakened superpowers will focus on improving their superpowers, how can they be willing to waste other time on practicing physical skills? He suspected that the person whose codename was Queen was a certain interstellar master who was recorded in the database by the Alliance, but he didn't know why she got the name of a sea-level hunter. With such strength, he can already be regarded as a dangerous person of the S-series by the Galaxy series, and at this time he actually appeared in the Twin Stars. Thinking of this, Gu Chen took a deep breath. As a proud man with outstanding talents, he had a smooth journey and never encountered setbacks. When he was hurt by someone, the wound was minor, but his pride and self-esteem made him suffer. No, he closed his eyes. When he opened them again, his sharp, knife-edge eyes revealed a frightening light, but no matter who you are, since you are here, you should stay. Unfinished, to be continued. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan ERWR. Chapter 1054. Lily had a move with Gu Chen, and now she probably knew his strength. If Gu Chen only relied on his own strength, he would definitely not be her opponent, but if he had the assistance of a soft mecha, his combat effectiveness would be very high. After being strengthened and promoted, the two of them were about the same. Although Lily's physical training skills were lower than his, she had the assistance of the Tao Te Ching training method, coupled with the unexpected attack coordination of her powers. Her combat experience was different. Young Master Gu Chen, even because of many missions, can even be said to be better than him in this aspect. It may not be easy to kill Gu Chen, but it is not so easy for Gu Chen to keep her. The ice and snow mask on her face that was originally cracked by Gu Chen's fist was repaired under the warmth of spiritual power. At this time, hearing Gu Chen's words, Lily smiled slightly. If you want to leave, you have to stay. It depends on my own wishes. If I want to stay, you can't drive me away. If I want to leave, you can't stay. When she said this, Lily's tone was very calm. It could be heard that her voice was soft and she was not as old as Gu Chen imagined. Although she had already guessed from her codename of Queen that she might be a woman, but when she spoke now, it undoubtedly confirmed this point. If she sneered and ridiculed him, Gu Chen wouldn't care, but her calm answer made Gu Chen feel humiliated. The frustration of his self-esteem made Gu Chen's expression even colder. What he said before was answered calmly by Lily, which made him feel upset after being injured before. Gu Chen's cheek muscles moved. The most terrifying thing about fighting against a master is not being calm, especially when fighting against such a dangerous person. If there is even the slightest mistake, my life may be at stake. After knowing that Lily's strength has reached S level or above and may even be more dangerous, Gu Chen no longer dares to treat her as an ordinary person. He closed his eyes calmly, and when he opened them again, there was no trace of irritability in his pupils, and they had become very calm. Although I don't know what the purpose of a master like Lily coming to Twin Stars is. But after discovering that her skills were far more difficult than he imagined, Gu Chen discovered that the queen on her body, which originally represented her identity, seemed to be an extremely ridiculous code name. At this time, it seemed that it was not false at all. Well, with such strength, even if she is really a bounty hunter, she is indeed worthy of being called the queen among bounty hunters. He stopped talking and took a deep breath, this time to calm down. Once again, she took the lead in rushing towards Lily. In addition to possessing superpowers, this superhuman named queen was also good at physical skills. Gu Chen quickly analyzed her advantages in his mind, but in the same fight just now, he also touched Lily's disadvantage is that she is not wearing a soft mecha. In terms of strength and physical fitness, he will definitely be worse than him. When his fist reached towards Lily's cheek, it suddenly turned into a palm knife. When the palm wrapped in soft mecha passed by Lily's cheek, although she had quickly dodged and an ice shield appeared on her face, her movements were not as good as Gu's. Chen was quick, but a small strand of broken hair was still cut off by the wind of Gu Chen's palm. If Lily had been slower, she might have cut off her neck instead of her hair. Once Gu Chen succeeded, his offensive became even more fierce. Lily swung her fist towards Gu Chen. Gu Chen grabbed her wrist, pulled her hard and tried to smash her to the ground. Lily turned over and jumped up, rubbing the tip of her other finger. A thin ice blade appeared in her palm, and her arms wrapped around Gu Chen's head. He wiped it on his neck with his backhand. When he tilted his head back and raised his legs to kick Lily, the speed was extremely fast. Lily was standing upside down in mid-air, making it difficult to change her body shape. However, the next moment she let go of the ice blade and slapped Gu with one hand. On Chen's head, he whispered softly. Ice. A large amount of cold air radiated from her palms. Gu Chen was shocked. He was even more nervous than when Lily used a dagger to wipe her neck. He quickly turned his head to avoid it, and let go of the palm that was originally holding her wrist. Once released, Lily fired several ice picks in succession after landing, forcing him back several steps. Gu Chen still suffered a big loss in the second fight. His head was already covered with a thin layer of ice crystals. If he hadn't worn a mecha and was a physical practitioner, he would still be able to fight at the same level. Not low, I'm afraid this is enough to make him suffer. But even so, Gu Chen stretched out his hand and patted his face to scatter the frozen ice crystals. When he heard the sound of ice cubes cracking and falling to the ground, his originally handsome and sharp face still showed a bit of bluish-white color. There were still traces of ice and snow on his eyebrows and other places, his lips were a little blue from the cold, and there were several small bloody mouths on his cheeks. Gu Chen snorted and suffered 2 moderate losses in a row. He stretched out his hand to sort out the frost and snow on his head, and suddenly said, "Start the current." The intelligence inside the soft mecha heard his instructions and agreed, and the mecha on his body suddenly emitted a thin silver light. Seeing such a scene, Lily frowned, but Gu Chen didn't wait for her to react and rushed forward again. Lily heard what he just said about electricity, and it was obviously not right, so he rushed forward again. At this time, Lily didn't dare to confront him head-on anymore. She tried to make an ice spear and threw it at him, but the ice spear fell between Gu Chen's arms, and she only heard the sound of strong electric current. The ice spear was suddenly blackened by electricity, turned into smoke, and dissipated in the air. The presence of soft mechas really increased their combat effectiveness. After this experiment, Lily naturally had no choice but to hide when she saw Gu Chen coming. In this way, the advantage she had gained was suddenly taken back by Gu Chen, and because Gu Chen's physical ability was strengthened by the mecha, she would probably not be his opponent if she continued to escape like this with her own strength. Although Lily guessed that the electric current stored in Gu Chen's mecha might not last for a particularly long time, because she herself had been forced to crash down on the spaceship that she had arranged for them to go to the Odo planet to investigate in the twin planets, she was in the process of killing people. He spent some spiritual power, and the fight with Gu Chen just now cost him some more. If he continued to waste it with him, even if he no longer relied on the mecha, he would probably suffer a loss. Gu Chen seemed to have discovered her weakness. He was no longer as eager and aggressive as before, but instead just chased after her. Obviously intending to consume her spiritual and physical energy. When Lily thought of this, she suddenly stopped and lightly tapped the ground with her feet. Thousands of miles of ice, large tracts of ice and snow spread under her feet. Soon half of the Parliament Hall was frozen, and the surrounding air suddenly became colder. Gu Chen, who was chasing her, was suddenly entangled in ice blocks. Although the electric current in his mecha could allow him to quickly destroy these ice cubes. But Lily seemed to be making ice much faster than him. At this moment, Lily was no longer stingy with the spiritual power in her body. A large amount of spiritual power surged out of her body. The ice under Gu Chen's feet gradually changed from weak at the beginning. Thick, the ice was like a tide, first freezing his bottom, and then submerging his instep, although he struggled hard in the process. But then, he heard Lily yell. The sky and the earth are infinite, the water dragon borrows the law. Before Gu Chen understood what this meant, a string of water drops appeared out of thin air, and gathered more and more at the speed of light, turning into a line about 2 meters long that he had never seen before. The ferocious beast roared towards him. At this moment, Gu Chen was completely confused. He didn't know why ice-type superpowers could also take care of water-type abilities. For the first time, His pale and handsome face showed a look of panic. The Milky Way has developed to this day, and technology far exceeds that of the ancient Earth. With the emergence of supernatural powers, physical training, mechas, and various nano-weapons, human beings' combat capabilities have become more and more powerful. He was getting stronger and stronger, but there were also many abandoned things. Before Gu Chen had time to curse angrily at what these things were, he wanted to hide, but he couldn't hide at this moment. His feet were completely frozen by the ice. He tried to hide. But the water dragon kept chasing him, and its body became longer and longer, and it suddenly wrapped around him. The combination of water and electricity had terrible consequences, and the frightening sound of ZZ was heard. The current in Gu Chen's body began to lose control, and an emergency warning sounded from the optical brain. In panic, Gu Chen was about to turn around and run away, but Lily took the opportunity to block him with ice and snow. Gu Chen was firmly frozen in the ice, like a lifelike ice sculpture. The look of shock and anger on his face was still there, and even the lightning flashing in the ice. Lily took a breath, only to feel that the spiritual power in her body had almost been drained out. The desperate move just now left her without the strength to fight Gu Chen anymore. The ice could only temporarily control Gu Chen, but could not control it. Kill him, Lily thought for a while, then took out a few more ice picks, and dropped the ice picks in the direction of the 5 elements and Bagua. As long as they could block Gu Chen for a moment and a half, that would be enough. After she had done all this, the fight between the two was so dangerous, but in the eyes of others, it only took less than 10 minutes. Jiju, the commander of the Free Army, saw that Gu Chen, the foreign aide he had hired at a high price, was easily trapped by Lily. His face instantly became extremely ugly. On the contrary, the emperor cried with joy. The twin emperor didn't expect that the hunter he accidentally found would hide such a fierce thing. When he saw Lily trapping Gu Chen, he hurriedly shouted, "Queen, help me," he finished his words. But only looked at Lily and glanced at him, and turned his head, where is the main intelligent subject of the twin stars. The person who was stared at by Lily was startled, and before he could react, Lily stretched out his hand and grabbed him. After seeing Lily's previous display of strength, the man in palace guard uniform even lost the will to resist and obediently pulled out the map in Xi's mind. Lily glanced at him, pulled him to signal him to lead the way, and quickly turned around and left into the Parliament Hall. Today, due to internal fighting, the authority of Twin Star Intelligence has been transferred to some people from the Liberal Party early on. Although Twin Star Intelligence has forcibly regained some power due to Gu Chen's forced entry into the palace, the intelligence system at this time it has not been restored, because the command authority is not here, and there are not many people guarding it. When Lily broke in, she easily dismissed a few Liberal Party soldiers, and finally came to the intelligent control room under the Twin Stars Palace. She did not hesitate to destroy the smart data of the past month, regardless of what kind of trouble she would bring to the Twin Stars. After making sure that her data would not leave traces on the Twin Stars, Lily escaped from the underground. The intelligent control room comes to the Congress Hall. Lily had only left for less than 5 minutes, but at this time most of the ice that trapped Gu Chen had been destroyed. He might break through the ice at any time. Lily's appearance once again made the Emperor and Jiju's expressions change drastically. The next moment Lily reached out to summon thunder. "Prepare a mecha and let me leave, and this is my mission. I hope you can give it a good review." The lightning in her hand flashed. At such a critical moment, she was still asking for good reviews for the mission. Although the twin emperors didn't understand Lily, such a dangerous person who can be called S-end level would care so much about the title of C-level hunter. But when he heard Lily's words, it was obvious that she wanted to help him. He felt happy and nodded. No need for him to tell me to go down. Naturally, someone had already summoned the mecha. A small mecha rushed in through the door that had just been destroyed by Gu Chen. A soldier on the mecha opened the mecha cabin in confusion. Lily leaned over and pushed it out. It was found inside. My mecha. The soldier instinctively wanted to resist, but Lily knocked it down with one palm. It's mine now, she sat in, and the Emperor motioned for him to completely hand over control of the mecha to her. Before cabin door is closed. A wave of his hand. 5 thunder curses, the 5 thunder curses that she had already prepared with her last bit of spiritual power were blasted out, heading straight for Jiji's head. Although people and things within the domain will be affected to a certain extent, the 5 thunder curse summoned by Lily with her spiritual power blasted toward the capital at an extremely slow speed after entering the domain. When the Emperor saw this, a ferocious smile appeared on his somewhat pale face. He suddenly let go of you in an instant. Jiju was so shocked that he didn't even bother to raise his spear to stab him to hide. But how can human speed compare to the 5 thunder curse? The next moment, there was a loud boom. Even though the leader of the Free Army on the Twin Planets was wearing a soft mecha, he still fell heavily to the ground under the bombardment of the thunder curse. Lily breathed a sigh of relief and lay down softly in the mecha cabin. The transparent protective cover came up, and the spiritual power in her body was completely drained. The mecha broke through the air and escaped at the speed of light. When she just left the palace gate, with the sound of bang breaking the ice, Gu Chen, who was looking miserable and pale, gritted his teeth, clenched his fists and stared hatefully in the direction she left, his eyes like knives. Yaito loses control. The Free Army's rebellion was ruined after years of preparation because of the unexpected disruption of the C-class hunter named Queen. Seeing that the situation was over, Gu Chen turned around and ran away without thinking. The Emperor was mentally and physically exhausted at this time, and reluctantly asked people to clean up the remnants of the Free Army. When the twin stars were settled and he wanted to find information about this queen, he discovered that all the information in this month had been cleared. The information about this queen has naturally disappeared. At the same time, there is also the rebellion of the Free Army and Gu Chen from the Interstellar Alliance interfering in the government affairs of the twin stars. Because the information has been deleted, the restrictions on it under the Milky Way Federation law have been removed. Without confirmation, they can only be charged with premeditated rebellion and violating the laws of the Galactic Federation by killing too many C-class hunters and sent to the Interstellar Court. Although the Emperor was a little regretful that he could not eradicate his serious trouble this time, at least the removal of the main figure of Jiju still made him relieved. Lily never thought that her unintentional actions helped Gu Chen escape. She drove the mecha and left the Twin Stars. After that day, the governments of the Twin Stars, which had experienced the disaster, issued a convention. This time the government issued the mission, the Hunter Queen has successfully completed it. At the same time, this sea-level hunter codenamed Queen became famous in all the stars after that day. When Gu Chen returned to the Interstellar Alliance, he tried to check for ice-type superpowers, and he has been trying to find out why ice-based superpowers can use lightning and water-based superpowers. He wanted to search for these superpowers in the galaxy. Able and physical warriors, it's a pity that nothing happened in the end. Lily, on the other hand, didn't care that her reputation was not far away, because after she got her own mecha, she set her sights on this vast galaxy. She began to capture B-level pirate groups that she could not capture before, and 2 years later, she raised her level to above B level. It took another 5 years to raise her level to A level, and this after a while, she finally progressed from checking the information on pirate groups with no level to level A and above. But something happened that disappointed Lily. After spending more than 7 years, she finally reached the level of an A-level hunter. She checked nearly 50 pages of A-level hunter information, but there was not a single one among them. It was the information about the Nye family pirate group that she was looking for, and among the top 3 pirate groups on the homepage, some information that she had never had permission to view finally surfaced. Looking at the golden S-class words above, Lily was speechless. In order to advance from A level to S level, in addition to a certain amount of accumulation, she also needs unanimous proof of her strength from the three major governments in the galaxy, and she must complete a mission that is enough to prove her S-level hunter. After applying, all her information will be recorded in the database. Lily frowned when she thought of these complicated procedures. It is not difficult for her to complete the accumulation of tasks, but it is more difficult to complete a task that can prove her as an S-class hunter and to get the three major governments of the galaxy to unanimously prove her strength. Because S-class missions are not common, and since she cannot inquire about the S-class pirate group at all, Lily's only way out is to issue rare S-class missions through the interstellar government, but this opportunity is relatively rare. It is impossible to ask for anything. Whether it is an S-level mission or dealing with the government, it is a bit troublesome for Lily. She thought about it. Is there any other way to check the information of the S-class pirate group? Now, in the process of non-stop mopping up the pirate groups, Lily is almost certain that the pirate group of the Nye family of the Emperor star that was destroyed that day was definitely one of the top 3 pirate groups, and it is very likely that it was the third pirate group. An S-class pirate group. Because among the pirate groups she has encountered over the years, no matter in terms of equipment or personnel, even some of the large A-level pirate groups cannot be compared with the Nye family of the past. The scene of the Emperor's attack on Pluto is still deeply imprinted in the memory of the original owner. The advanced weapons, the mechas flying in the sky, and all kinds of advanced weapons almost make everyone feel proud of their spiritual power. The proud Pluto Prince had no power to fight back. Even if the people of Pluto Prince tried their best in the end, they could only protect the 2 princesses from escaping from the planet in trouble. Many years later, even though Hua Lily's body has had a new core, when Lily thinks of the memories of the original owner, she still feels reassured by the strength of the Nye family, which cannot be compared to ordinary pirate groups. Even if Gu Chen led the Alliance army to encircle and suppress the Emperor star afterwards, the Nye family could still escape smoothly. It is conceivable how far the Nye family has developed. As soon as she asked this question, the intelligent machine replied. In addition to being promoted to an S-level hunter and spending credits to inquire about the S-level pirate group's information, Queen, you can also use other methods to inquire. Lily originally thought there was no other way, but when she heard the system's words, she was a little surprised. What way? That is, you can use 200 billion credit points in exchange for querying the information of the S-class pirate group. Now you just have the opportunity to query. Do you want to use it? It is equivalent to buying a piece of news at a high price. As soon as Gigi finished speaking, Lily nodded in agreement without hesitation. After escaping from the planet Camilla, Lily has been capturing interstellar pirates until now, and has accumulated exactly 200 billion credit points. Although it is a pity after using it once, but with the cooperation with the government and the recognition of her strength by the 3 major planets, compared with completing an S-level mission, this requirement is undoubtedly much simpler. As soon as she agreed to the inquiry, Zhizi asked. Excuse me, which pirate group are you looking for? 3 pirate groups with an S letter appeared in front of Lily, and Lily couldn't make up her mind for a moment. Which one to choose? If she chooses the wrong one, it means that her efforts in the past 12 years have been in vain. If she wants to inquire again, it may take many years. Lily licked her lips, thought for a few seconds, and said decisively when she opened her eyes. Query number 1. Okay. In the smart response, the information of the S-class pirate group that was originally ranked first was unlocked. Lily originally thought that the higher the ranking pirate group, the slower the unlocking time would be. After all, she is now querying the A-level pirate group with the number of people reunited. The number of pirates increased, the strength of these pirates became more complicated, and the relationships between people were complicated. The system would always take 2 or 3 seconds to prepare. She originally thought that the S-class pirate group would be more complicated, but she didn't expect that the system's voice would only as soon as she fell. The first S-class pirate information was unfolded in front of her. To be continued. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan ERWR. Chapter 1055. Unexpectedly, a figure suddenly appeared in front of her. It was a real shadow, not the side or the back of the person. What appeared on the shadow was: name, Su-Ying. Ability. Physical skills. Comprehensive Strength Assessment, SS+. It has been unanimously determined by the federal government that this person is more dangerous than SS+. I wish the Queen good success and look forward to your return. Lily saw all this, even if she had guessed that this might be the result before making the inquiry, but at this moment, the real facts were placed in front of her, which still made Lily feel angry. Especially the first place. Su-Ying didn't have any information at all. Apart from saying in a smart and vague way, "This person is more dangerous than SS+, she spent 200 billion in credit cards in exchange for this result. No matter how calm Lily was at this moment, she still couldn't help but feel the urge to kill the intelligence in front of her. Other than that, nothing else. Lily took a deep breath, suppressed the inexplicable impulse that surged in her heart, and asked calmly, and the intelligent optical brain beeped twice as a warning. "Queen, your emotions are fluctuating too much at this time. The system has detected that you are in a dangerous state. Maybe you should enter hibernation and have a good rest." The system's words did not calm Lily down, but instead made her laugh. After making two noises, her originally fair face turned a little red, not because she felt shy after being warned by the intelligence, but because she was already a little angry at this time. "Does Su-Ying have any other information?" She insisted on asking this question. After Zhizhi respectfully asked her to wait for a moment, he said, "There is no other information. We are waiting for additional information." "Queen, do you have anything else that you need to inquire again?" The credit points in his name have been deducted due to the inquiry at this time, and the remaining credit points are less than 1 million, not even a fraction to support another inquiry. Lily closed her eyes. "If I arrest Su-Ying, what will be my reward?" "If Queen, you can capture Su-Ying, then you will receive 500 billion credit points provided by the planets in the galaxy. You will also receive 200 billion credit points provided by the Star Alliance, as well as the strength recommendation of the Galactic Federation." Zhizhi paused and then continued, "In other words, Queen, you may be the first bounty hunter in history to successfully apply for the S-series." Hearing this, Lily frowned. The reward was too generous. It only cost 200 billion credits to look up Su-Ying's information. But if he is successfully captured, in addition to receiving a reward of more than 700 billion, he will also be recommended by the strength of the Galaxy Federation. Lily has been in this mission world for many years, plus her time as a bounty hunter. It's not that bad anymore, and I am no longer as ignorant about many things as before, especially after being promoted to an A-level bounty hunter. She also knows a little more about this industry. First of all, to be promoted to an S-class hunter, it is not an easy challenge to be recognized by the three major galactic governments, because the galactic government referred to here does not generally refer to the three planets under the rule of the Interstellar Alliance. But it should include having independent political power. For example, the Twin Stars and the Interstellar Alliance can only be regarded as two galactic governments. Killing Su-Ying or capturing him can gain the recognition of the entire Galaxy Federation. The Galaxy Federation is different from the Interstellar Alliance. The Interstellar Alliance is a government composed of hundreds of planets. The Federation is all galaxies in the Milky Way, large and small. Regardless of whether the government is independent or not, almost all of them join the Federation. Obtaining the recognition of the Federation is equivalent to gaining the recognition of the governments of all large and small galaxies in the Milky Way. The significance of this is far greater than being recognized by the three political powers. But precisely because of this, Lily was still a little ready to make a move. After learning such unexpected news, she did not dare to act rashly. If the cake is so big, if there is no ghost in the middle, who would believe it? Generally, if the bait is too rich, it is to trick bigger and fatter fish into taking the bait. Due to the failure of the original owner of the mission this time, Lily has been very careful. If she can do it, she will naturally take the bait. But if she couldn't do it, she didn't want to show off and risk her life in vain. Thinking back to what the system had reminded before, Su Ying was more dangerous than S+. Then she thought about how she was still an A-level hunter and had gone through so much trouble to get an S-level title. I don't know how dangerous a pirate with S-level strength would be. How scary it would be. In addition, the level of the superpower in this person's information shows 5 question marks. Although we don't know what kind of superpower this person has, it shows that he has superpowers, and the same is true for the physical skills column. The most important thing is there is also a comprehensive strength certification. In other words, this person is the same as me, and his superpowers and physical skills do not represent his true strength. He should be like me, and he also has a certain trump card. Lily would not touch this dangerous person. This time she had admitted defeat, so she thought about it and decided to make a comeback and take on all the A-level tasks she could currently accept. She did not believe that she could have nothing in the first place. It took her 7 years to save 200 billion credits. Now that she has started at such a high level, and the A-level pirate group's remuneration is much higher than that of the original B-level pirate group, she will be able to save up more in 5 or 6 years at most. 200 billion credits will come in just a few years, wouldn't it? She admitted it. Even if she is just unlucky and makes another mistake, there are only 3 S-class pirate groups in total. Now that one of them has been eliminated, there is always hope that the remaining 2 will be able to find information about her. Lily accepted the mission and left the Interstellar Network angrily. At the same time in the Interstellar Alliance, a man in the military headquarters wearing a straight Alliance combat uniform sat in the control room, his face full of condensation. The door was lightly knocked twice, and the man's brows as sharp as razor blades furrowed slightly. After a while, he said, "Please come in." Following his command, the door slowly opened, and a woman wearing a floor-length skirt holding a boy slowly came in. The originally Zayasha monitoring room was filled with a faint fragrance because of the entry of these 2 people. The woman was holding a tray with several pieces of toasted bread on it. Her long, soft black hair was tied loosely and hung behind her back. She glanced at the man and asked gently, "Is there any news?" Her voice was gentle, and the man with a cold face heard her voice. His expression suddenly softened, and all the defenses on his body seemed to be removed in an instant. His originally sharp eyes also softened, and he stepped forward to hold the woman's slender waist. He kissed her gently on the lips. The woman's face was red and her cheeks were red. She gave him a gentle push. The man laughed twice and kissed her several times before sighing. 15 seconds ago, our people in the Federation sent back news that the Queen had inquired about Su Ying's information half a minute ago. Su Ying, when the woman heard the name, she raised her voice in surprise. "Akin, has her strength developed so fast in only 7 years?" When Gu Chen heard her calling his name, his eyes couldn't help but become softer. He stretched out his hand to gently smooth her hair, his eyes a little hazy. A scar deep into the bone still remains on his cheek. In the interstellar era, cell repair has reached the point where even if a person is seriously injured and dying, as long as he has a breath, he can perfectly repair the injury on his face. Repaired. Even when the color of his scars faded, he would always think about the scene in the past when he was stabbed with an ice spear by the hunter codenamed Queen, aggravating his injuries again and again, reminding him that he almost missed the enemy because of his underestimation. Died in Twin Stars. That was the first time he was frustrated when he was young and proud, when he was in high spirits. He was slapped hard. That feeling was something he would never forget. This shame has always been engraved in his heart and has never faded from that day on. Gu Chen has already started secretly tracking the whereabouts of the Queen. It's just that the Federation strictly protects bounty hunter information. After all, the bounty hunter profession is extremely dangerous. As long as they are hunters below B level, once they reach a level, the information will not be easy to find even by insiders. They are afraid that something will happen to such a top talent due to personal grudges. Gu Chen has thought of many ways to find it in Beihai and other places. I checked her when her rank was still very low, but because her registration information was very simple, except for finding out that this person's origin was unknown and only knew her code name and rank, the rest of the information was about her achievements in sweeping away those ordinary pirate groups. There's nothing outstanding about it. Gu Chen has endured for many years. In these 7 years, he has never given up. However, Lily has been very low-key. In these 7 years, despite his amazing strength, he has never done anything earth-shattering like other people with extraordinary strength. So he did not get much information, until this time she made an exception and inquired about the information of the S-class pirate group. Because such a situation had never happened in the past 1,000 years, it was too special, and her whereabouts were captured by Gu Chen again. Arrive. I fought against her 7 years ago. This woman is very strong. Not only does she have ice powers, but she can also use water powers. At the same time, her physical training level is at least 7 levels, and she was originally the capital of the Twin Stars Liberal Party was destroyed by her lightning power that day, so it should not be underestimated. After hearing his words, the woman's eyes flashed with a hint of imperceptible jealousy, and she pouted. "Aiken, are you praising another woman in front of me?" She held the child's hand tightly. The boy looked about 10 years old, and his appearance was as delicate as hers. However, it hurt when she scratched him. Except for a hint of pain in his eyes, his expression did not change at all. Gu Chen saw everything in his eyes, sighed, and took her hand that was holding the child in his palm. She let go immediately. Gu Chen lowered his head and put his forehead between her eyebrows, with a confused look in his eyes. "Fuya, don't you understand my feelings for you? We now have 2 children, and Gu Qing is now 16. I never look at other women. You should know that in my heart, except for you, I never look at anyone else. Even if that person is your sister, as long as you don't like it, I won't look at it. Why do you have to worry anymore? We grew up as childhood sweethearts. What am I? Don't you know what kind of person you are? I have fallen in love with you from the moment I made an engagement with you. I only have you in my heart. I have never thought about marrying another woman in my life, even if you were because of..." Before he finished speaking, Huafui's face instantly turned pale, and she subconsciously reached out to cover his lips, then threw herself into his arms. "I know, I know, I know," she kept repeating these words, her face buried in Gu Chen's chest, her body trembling slightly. "I know what you mean. I just love you too much and am afraid of losing it. You, Aiken. You have mentioned her too many times in the past 7 years. So what if she has 3 series of powers? You are not worse than her, you are not worse than her, you are better than her." What Gu Chen originally wanted to say. After feeling her body tremble slightly, he didn't say anything more, he just sighed and hugged her tighter. At this time, after Lily took over the mission, she spent about half a year to eliminate the A-level pirate group she took over. After watching her mission completion level show up, she was ready to ambush. A mission. Compared with the previous B-level pirate group, the A-level pirate group is undoubtedly stronger by more than 1 level. Most of these interstellar pirates are extremely powerful, with many members in the group, many mechas, and most importantly, well equipped, and their armed strength is no worse than that of an ordinary planet. Therefore, it usually took her the time to eliminate a B-level pirate group in the past. About half a month. But this time, it took more than half a year to eliminate the A-class pirate group called Gale Star, not to mention the time she spent searching for pirates before that. Although it took a long time to pay, Lily still couldn't help but curl her lips when she saw the 10 million credit points. She retrieved the information about the interstellar pirate ships that she had received in her brain. This was an interstellar pirate group called the Eternal, with tens of thousands of large and small battleships under its command, and its leader He-Man was quite famous in the galaxy. Originally, this should have been her initial goal. However, because after searching for nearly 7 months, the whereabouts of the Eternal could not be found, and instead they bumped into the Wind Star by mistake, Lily had no choice but to temporarily put down the Eternal and destroy the Wind Star. Only then did he set his sights on the Eternal again. In fact, this interstellar pirate named Eternal has a history. The Eternal Pirate Group was not originally an interstellar pirate. It belongs to a formally trained army in the Zulan Star. The leader He-Man was a commander under the government in the Zulan Star. His strength had reached 4 stars. According to official data at this time, he had a B and level mental talent, and his mental level had reached level 7 or above. He could control an 8th level mecha. At that time, he was a person who was far more powerful than Gu Chen. However, in a great war, He-Man led the army to fight against other galaxies. In the end, the army was defeated due to his mistakes. In that battle, the 5 million troops of the Blue Stars commanded by him were directly reduced to more than 70. 1. The Blue Stars were hit by this. If they had not received the military support of the Interstellar Alliance and applied for help from the Galaxy Federation, I am afraid that the Blue Stars would have been destroyed as early as that battle. After the incident, the Blue Star governments were furious and issued an announcement, announcing that He-Man would be removed from the position of commander, and that he would be held responsible for military matters and sent to a federal military court to subject him to scrutiny. In his anger, in order to evade federal sanctions, He-Man simply declared treason and reorganized the remaining troops, established the Eternal, and in the same year led a group of people to rob a star field and seize the local area. They massacred all the people and occupied the planet. They committed a major crime and became a notorious A-class pirate group in the interstellar world. After becoming the heel, He-Man resented the Blue Stars government for expelling him, so he led a group of people to attack him. The Blue Stars were already severely weakened by the war that day, and He-Man took away almost all of the Blue Stars. When all the elite members were attacked, the Blue Stars were unable to resist and finally disappeared into the galaxy. Over the years, because the Eternal Star is a regular army of the former government, its strength is different from that of ordinary pirate groups, with a large number of people, and an extremely powerful leader. It can be said that it has been unstoppable, committing several major crimes one after another, and has become a leader among the stars. One of the most feared pirate groups. The Eternal Pirates not only rob merchants on passenger planes, but also sometimes dare to touch the things of many small planet governments. Because of their huge strength, the Federation has formed an army to encircle and suppress them, but they have been able to escape smoothly every time. This galaxy is so vast and there are countless black holes. After robbing a planet, the trained professionals among Herman's men changed the coordinates and hid it in the starry sky, making it invisible. However, decades later, the Federation had nothing to do with it. Over the past few decades, many A-level bounty hunters among the bounty hunters have had ideas about other A-level pirate groups, but few have dared to think about the Eternal. Lily took over the task of the A-level pirate group that day. At that time, I didn't look at the information about these pirate groups at all. Instead, I only saw that the bounty of the Eternal was quite large, that the Blue Stars were destroyed that day, and that He-Man killed tens of millions of planet residents when he robbed the planet. The crime caused the Federation to offer a sky-high price of 50 million credit points. When Lily saw this price, her heart skipped a beat. If he completes 4 such tasks, he will almost have enough credits to check the S-class pirate group's information next time. As for the reminder of the Eternal's strength, Lily didn't take it to heart at all. In the 17 years since she entered the mission, her current physical training skills had broken through the 13th level half a year ago, and her superpowers were due to with the benefits brought by practicing physical skills. She has improved very quickly and has reached the 10th level. Not to mention that she still has the Tao Te Ching in her body. Even today, Gu Chen's strength has improved and she is driving a new mecha station. In front of her, even if she didn't use her powers, Gu Chen would no longer be her opponent. What's more, although the Eternal has a large number of people and is powerful, if she is afraid of this now, then even if she finds out the strength of the Nai family in the future, won't she be scared to death? Compared with the Eternal, the Nai family was truly dangerous and made her fearful. After spending more than 3 months searching for traces of the Eternal, Lily piloted the battleship that she had snatched from the last time she destroyed the Gale Star pirate ship. After handing over control to intelligence, she began to practice physical training. The battleship was aimlessly piercing through the sea of stars. Lily didn't know that while she was searching for others, Gu Chen also applied to the Federation for a request to investigate dangerous persons after getting the news about Su Ying. Some information about Lily also began to trace her whereabouts. Feeling that her body was surrounded by spiritual power, Lily opened her palms, and a crystal light blue ice rose bloomed in her palms, as if it had gained vitality. She quietly watched the rose bloom from a bud. This beautiful scene made her mouth curl up slightly. The next moment she moved her fingertips, and a voice suddenly came from the smartphone driving the battleship. Signal found, signal found, signal found. The prompt sounded 3 times in a row. Lily clenched her open hand into a fist, and the frost rose turned into dots of crystal light and disappeared into the battleship. Only then did he stood up and walked quickly towards the control room. At this time, in the battleship's signal room, the light green dotted line on the control panel pointed forward at an angle of about 45 degrees to the right. The signal that was intelligently searched came from that place. Lily had previously connected the Eternal's data to the intelligence. After analyzing the places where the Eternal had committed most crimes and appeared in the past few decades, she did not set a target and allowed the intelligent-controlled battleship to wander aimlessly in the vast interstellar space. The purpose was wandering around, and no results were obtained for more than 3 months. During the more than a year of doing missions, if she encountered a small pirate group, Lily would easily deal with it. After all, she was short of credits now, and without a better goal, she would never give up any opportunity to earn credits. At this time, a signal with information about the pirate ship was found, and Lily did not hesitate to order the smart ship to drive the warship in this direction quickly. To Lily's expectation, the pirate ship's information was on the Federal Information List, but similarly, the real big pirates should also have some information about bounty hunters. Now B-class pirate ships are discovering that they are. When she was slightly close to them, she would usually panic and drive the spaceship to escape, but this time she noticed her approach. The pirate ship had no intention of dodge. Instead, it quickly moved towards her direction, which made her a little confused. Surprised, after ordering the intelligence to stop moving forward, about 2 minutes later, a huge battleship was speeding towards the side at the speed of light. The 2 words "Eternal" on the battleship's body were eye-catching. This is really hard to find, and it takes no effort at all. To be continued. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan ERWR. Chapter 1056. Seeing the battleship rushing towards her, it was too late for Lily to hide, so she asked Gigi to command her battleship to sideways and stop in front of the Eternal. This behemoth is like a huge moving city in the sky. Under normal circumstances, whether it is B-class pirates or the Windstar interstellar pirate group that Lily has encountered before, it is usually seen that there are warships blocking it. In front of it, the first thing to do is to send out several mechas or spaceships from the battleship to destroy the obstacles in front of it. If the obstacle is too large, the battleship will be stopped and attacked with light nuclear weapons. Usually at this time, Lily will take the opportunity to snatch the mecha or use the scap to attack the battleship. Lily originally thought that the Eternal would do the same, but it was obvious that he had seen himself blocking the battleship, but the battleship in front of him showed no intention of stopping to attack. Even the protective cover was kept tightly closed, and no mechas were sent out to attack. Instead, they seemed to she looked like she was going to charge directly. She was indeed very experienced and didn't give herself a chance. Lily raised her brows. The next moment, the battleship approached her at an extremely fast speed. The plan of Eternal was indeed to directly attack her. Bump into her. At this moment, it was too late to move his warship away. Lily's warship was not big. After all, she traveled through the galaxy to find prey rather than to be regarded as prey. This ship's hull was not enough. 1/10 the size of the Eternal, if it were hit solidly, the hull would be broken into pieces. The defensive shield did not have much effect in front of the Eternal at this time. She ordered the intelligence to open the shield and stood on the deck of the battleship. Seeing Eternity getting closer and closer, she seemed to be able to feel the cold and dangerous atmosphere on the battleship. The next moment Lily spread her hands flat, and a large ice shield was blocking her in front of her. At the same time, the Eternal battleship also collided with it, hitting the ice with a bang. The surface of the ice shield cracked in large areas, but it was completely repaired with the influx of spiritual power. After reaching the 8th level of physical training, Lily's body no longer relies on physical skills to absorb spiritual power, but can use the spiritual power of heaven and earth for her own use. The endless stream of spiritual power allows her to maintain the ice shield intact, but when the battleship collides with it, the terrible impact made her body's energy and blood surge, and the battleship she was stepping on began to sway and retreat. The ship's hull made a creaking sound on the verge of breaking. Lily only blocked it for a moment, and took advantage of it. The battleship was blocked for a second. Before she had time to retreat into her battleship and let her intelligence open the defense cover, and just when she was about to escape with all her strength, the Eternal paused for a moment when an accident suddenly happened. Lily originally thought that her attempt to destroy the Eternal pirate group this time must have failed. She could not find a chance to break into the Eternal pirate group, and she had no way to break their device for the time being. She was not as powerful as others in terms of nuclear weapons. When she temporarily retreated on time, she did not expect that the battleship on which the Eternal pirate group was riding would in an instant, its original new and shiny appearance began to decay at a speed that could be seen with the naked eye. As if the latest warship of the Eternal pirate group had experienced tens of millions of years in that moment, its beautiful and gorgeous appearance was corroded, and even the hull began to become tattered. Rotten. The protective cover that was originally locked was suddenly opened, and dozens of mechas rushed out from inside with a swish sound, not caring about Lily in front of them. The sound of mechas breaking through the air sounded. It was obvious that he was going to cut through the air and escape. A mecha panicked and crashed into Lily. Although Lily had decided to retreat before, she didn't have time to react because the accident happened so fast. At this moment, she saw the mecha crashing towards her, and she clenched her fists. It hit the mecha with a boom sound. In the click sound, the moment her fist touched the mecha, the ice surrounded the mecha. Before the person piloting the mecha realized what was going on, the small mecha had already formed into a huge. The ice cubes were knocked straight away by Lily, and fell dozens of meters away in the air. Then they exploded with a bang sound, and the mecha inside and the warrior driving the mecha turned into pieces, and even blood beads, not even a drop was seen, and it was destroyed in one fell swoop. After reaching the 10th level of physical skills, especially with the upgrade of superpowers, Lily can now carry the mecha by herself. At this time, she destroyed a mecha. She originally thought that the Eternal Pirate group would a person's character is bound to seek revenge on her, but at this time, those people seemed to have not seen the action at all, and they were all focused on their own escape. At the same time, the battleship's original corrosion speed suddenly stopped. A small battleship jumped out from behind the huge fuselage. The protective cover was not closed. A tall and thin young man wearing a white protective suit was at this moment standing on the armor platform, holding a pair of gloves in his hand. He looked up at the fleeing mechas in the starry sky. The light spots brought by these mechas as they fled quickly looked like one point at a time under the starry sky. Pointed like a cold star. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" the young man said gently without lowering his head. He was wearing a white protective suit that tightly wrapped his body. His left hand was holding a glove of the same color as the protective suit. At this time, the index finger of his right hand was stretched out. The other nails were clenched into a ball, forming a pointing posture, pointing at the mechas fleeing in the air, and counting in a low voice, 1, 2, 3. As soon as he finished speaking the first number, the body of the mecha that had escaped with almost only a point of light suddenly exploded with a bang, and a fire broke out in the starry sky, and the people inside didn't even have time to scream. The sound fell to the ground. Then every time he counted a number, one of the mechas would explode. When he finished counting 46, all the mechas that had escaped almost fell down within a few seconds. This situation was not only seen by Lily, but also by the people of the Eternal Pirate ship. They were already frightened at this time. There was no mecha inside that could escape. The protective cover was tightly closed. The battleship was rapidly decaying. Due to aging, there was a terrible lingering sound coming from the engine, and the sound of the ship was crumbling. In a short time, hundreds of people had stood up on the armored platform under the transparent protective cover, staring at the situation outside. His face was full of fierceness and fear. Just when the young man was counting, the mecha was destroyed. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that it was related to him, but how could he do it? Lily didn't see it at all. Even with her current strength, she didn't see the young man's methods, and her heart began to sink. The Eternal Pirates began to crash into her move. I'm afraid it's not that he knew her name so he found the smartest way to deal with her, but that he was being chased by this strange man, so he wanted to bump into her and run away when he saw her. Lily is now very powerful, but she is not so arrogant as to think that she is the only one in this world. At this moment, she couldn't see the young man's actions. If he killed someone, at least others would be able to recognize him as a person with supernatural powers. However, this young man's murder seemed to be invisible, and her whole body was tense. It was too late to escape at this time. If she turned around and ran away, the boy would count her inexplicably later. If he knew his method of killing, he might be able to resist, but he didn't even understand how his opponent did it. If you run away rashly, it's just too risky. Like fireworks, so beautiful, the young man wiped out the mecha that had just escaped, and then slowly put on the gloves he held in his left hand. He seemed not to hear Lily's answer and remained silent for a while. After a while, he put on his gloves and turned to look at Lily. Under the soft long hair, the light eyebrows like distant mountains were looming in the gap between the bangs. Lily saw the slender and upward-looking Fenyan now showed a look of disapproval. His lips pursed. A truly elegant lady. It is impossible not to be so rude as not to answer when others ask questions. The light on the deck of his battleship hit him, and when Lily saw this person's appearance, take a breath. The layers of cold hair on my back stood up. She had met this young man before entering the mission. The boy who asked others how much 1+1 equaled, the boy who wore a white protective suit and played Adelina by the water somewhat unskilledly. He once summoned a mecha to let her leave, but she was killed. The boy who was trapped in the Camilla galaxy and almost died in that sinful city did not expect that many years later, the two of them would meet again in this starry sky in this way. She only opened her eyes when she entered the mission that day. When she was almost raped by Xiao Yu, it was this young man who hijacked the Xiao family's merchant ship. At that time, she almost died in this mission because of the young man's actions. But then again, if he hadn't accidentally disrupted the situation that day, the moment she entered the mission, she would most likely have followed the same path as the original owner Hua Lily, raped by Xiao Yu, and finally got tired of being played by him. Later it was abandoned in the Camilla Galaxy. Although in the end the young man's intervention resulted in her falling into the Camilla Galaxy, the young man's appearance at least saved her from being insulted by Xiao Yu. Although she almost died in the mecha crash that day, it was her own skill that was inferior to others after all. When we met again many years later, the childish boy who was still a little nervous back then had a faraway look and his figure seemed to be a bit slender and thinner than before. He was still wearing the same protective clothing, and even his tone of voice was the same as that impression. He was exactly the same, and he still used the same method of killing people. At first, Lily didn't understand his method of killing people. Now that she has practiced physical skills with supernatural powers, she also can't figure out how he killed those mechas. It's you. The moment he saw Lily, his eyes were a little blurry, as if he had quickly found a familiar shadow from the fragments of memory, and he used an affirmative sentence instead of a question. Compared with more than 10 years ago, his appearance has not changed much. Even though Lily has changed a little in the past 10 years, time seems to have stopped on him. His facial features are still the same as before, except for although he has grown taller and has longer hair, he still looks like a clean and gentle boy. Seeing an acquaintance, the young man was obviously very excited. He even seemed to have forgotten the eternal pirate ship and narrowed his eyes. "That girl who knew Adelina by the water, are you still alive?" He reached out and grabbed his hair, looking confused and cute. "I remember the longitude and latitude at that time. 48s, there was." The young man's brain was like a sophisticated intelligence, and he quickly calculated the result. The coordinates there are the planet Camilla. The mecha's energy should not be enough to support you to land safely. Why can you still do it? Are you alive?" He was a little excited, his eyes were like two bright stars, shining with coquettish brilliance. He took a step forward. It was obvious that the step was not big, but the next moment Lily found that he had already stepped towards his battleship. She urgently wanted to let the intelligence command the battleship to raise the protective cover and retreat. The young man smiled gently. "I think I should tell you, that's of no use to me." As if he knew what Lily was going to do, he pointed to her in the direction of his battleship as if offering a treasure. "I learned another new piece of art. Can you name it?" Just now, he himself was asking Lily how he could be alive. Originally, Lily thought he would ask how he could escape from the planet Camilla, but obviously she guessed wrong, and the boy didn't seem to be very interested in it. After he asked Lily once and saw no answer, he turned his mind to his artwork. This man was nervous and powerful. Lily frowned and stared at him warily. Everyone on the platform of the Eternal Pirate ship saw this scene. The battleship was restarted, and they obviously wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to escape. The young man stood beside Lily. Seeing this from the corner of his eye, he suddenly wrinkled his nose. "I'll deal with you first." It was as if he had found a more interesting toy and was tired of playing with the eternal pirates. Eternity. Nothing in this world is truly eternal. After he finished speaking, he hummed softly. As he sang the famous song, his arms were raised as if directing the music. The gloved fingertips seemed to be dancing in the air, making several beautiful gestures. Following his movements, the next moment the battleship on which the eternal pirates were riding had not had time to retreat, and began to age at a rapid rate. The sound of the light core drive that originally sounded in the battleship gradually slowed down from the rapid click sound at the beginning, and finally became inaudible. The retreating battleship suddenly stopped, and the pirates on the deck inside spoke with aging at a speed visible to the naked eye. Finally turned into withered bones. The battleship was corroded at an extremely terrifying speed in front of Lily, as if it had been poisoned by something violent. In less than half a minute, the battleship and the people inside were destroyed. They disappeared together and eventually turned into dust, slowly disappearing among the stars. This fantastic scene is like letting Lily watch an incredible movie scene. The huge ship body seemed to have done nothing in a very short period of time, but the disappearance of the Eternal Pirates group, even fools knew that it was with him. It is inseparable. She remained silent and her throat was very dry. The young man slowly retracted his hand and sighed. Even though I've seen it so many times, it still feels so interesting every time I see it. There were at least hundreds of thousands of people on the entire battleship of the Eternal Pirate group, but they all disappeared in the blink of an eye. The young man's words seemed to break the silence, and Lily opened her mouth. "Who are you?" Obviously not expecting Lily to open her mouth and ask his name, the young man turned to look at her, his eyes shining brightly against the purple light. It seemed that he was not asked his name very often. It took him a while to come to his senses. "I'm really rude for not introducing myself. My name is Su Ying." After he finished speaking, he even curled up his lips and smiled. Those eyes were curved like crescent moons, and this delicate and lovely face was hard to associate with the devil who had killed hundreds of thousands of people just by joking. Lily had actually already figured it out. When she heard that her suspicion was confirmed, she couldn't help but smile bitterly. There are not many powerful people in this mission world. If he belongs to the Federation, it is impossible for a person like him to appear here alone. He must serve the Federation. The Eternal Pirates group is already a powerful A-level pirate group. It can chase these desperados and run for their lives. Apart from existences that are more ferocious than them, what else should they be more afraid of and not dare to fight for? Just trying to escape? He-Man had the courage to kill the brutal man who massacred all the blue stars on his home planet. For this, he violated federal laws and violated humanitarianism. He was hunted by the governments of all the planets in the galaxy, and he was able to rob him again under such circumstances. A planet has become its base, and the large pirate group has not been able to eliminate it even after several encirclement and suppression campaigns by the regular armies of various planets. When they saw this boy, they only knew how to escape. In addition to the S-series strength, which is more terrifying than the A-level pirate group and the government. Besides the strong, who else could be there? The most important thing is that when this young man killed people, the method he used was so mysterious that Lily didn't even notice it. She somehow remembered the S that she had spent more than 200 billion credits in exchange for more than a year ago. In the information column of the top-ranked pirate Su Ying, the superpower was 5 question marks. She inexplicably felt that this boy was very similar to the top-ranked Su Ying, because he was a person, and the S-class among the first place, the one named Su Ying is just a figure. Thinking of what Gigi said about this person's strength reaching SS and or above, Lily felt confident and asked the question. However, she didn't expect that Su Ying didn't refuse to say his name at all. Instead, he answered his question happily. "Did you just use a superpower?" Lily's voice was a little stiff, but Su Ying still looked cute. When he smiled slightly, he showed 2 small tiger teeth. There was still a bit of childishness in that smile, but he meant to conceal it. When Lily asked, she nodded. Certainly. What kind of superpower can achieve such a level without any traces? Lily felt like she was standing next to Su Ying at this time, and her back was a little cold. Is it poison? Su Ying stared at her, and the smile on her face gradually faded a lot. He stared at Lily for a long time, and his expression slowly turned cold. The handsome face that had lost its smile now looked terrifyingly calm. It can also be said to be poison. You know, there is no cure for it. What is the most poisonous thing in the world? He began to touch his hands and wanted to take off the gloves he was wearing. When Lily saw his action, her legs tensed up, and the spiritual energy in her body swam rapidly. Before she could think of how to answer, Su Ying seemed to not need her answer. It's time. There is no cure for the poison of time. Explanation, madam, my power is to control time as long as it is an existing object. He can take away time. As the power increases, his time poison can take away the original lifespan of any object. Therefore, he can make the people on the eternal battleship disappear into nothingness in the river of time in a short period of time, so he can remain calm, even before he encounters the mechas that escaped from the eternal battleship. Let them explode in an instant, and he can kill people quietly. Lily recalled at this moment that when she first met him on the Xiao family's merchant ship, he might have not made any progress in his superpowers at that time. To such a terrible point now, the people who died on Xiao's merchant ship at that time should have been controlled by him and took action himself. Or it is possible that he also took action at this time, but because of his superpower, he did not. I did not see it. No wonder, in the S-class pirate group, many of his information are unknown, and the system only prompts that this person is extremely dangerous. Lily smiled bitterly. If she had wanted to resist before, now after Su Ying confessed his power so frankly, she didn't dare to act rashly. Su Ying's ability to control time is too rebellious. God, even a strong man with S-level strength, no matter how strong a person or weapon is, can't stand up to the wear and tear of time. You tell me this, are you planning to kill me, or are you not planning to kill me? If she had known that she would encounter such trouble this time, Lily would never have leaned in this direction and escaped at this time. It's too late. The lessons from the past were still in front of her. Lily thought of the only two-faced relationship between the two of them, and she roughly understood the strange character of this young man. He never needed any reason to kill people, and he did not act according to reason. When asked about his name and his special powers, Lily didn't even mean to hide it. She said her request directly, and the young man's eyebrows suddenly arched again. Death or immortality will eventually become just a speck of dust in the stars. Are you afraid? His fingers were about to move, as if he was holding back something. Lily nodded. I'm afraid, I still have things to do. Although the results of death are the same, sometimes if you live, everyone's process is still different. She almost died from Susu more than 10 years ago. In Ying's hands, she could survive from the young Su Ying back then, but she wasn't sure if she would have a chance to escape from him more than 10 years later after she knew about Su Ying's powers. She was not afraid of dying during the mission, but her mission was not completed, and she was not willing to die here. Su Ying stared at her for a long time, looking at her determined look. She clenched her fists, obviously nervous but very calm, and did not run away rashly. He suddenly felt interesting. Of course, I have learned a new artwork, and I really hope you can name it. Why should I kill you? To be continued. Carrot. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan ERWR. Chapter 1057. The music Su Ying plays is called Starry Sky. He didn't know where he found this music score. Although many parts were wrong, Lily still heard the melody of this music after stumbling. In fact, with the development of science and technology, music that is better than the ancient piano music in the previous Earth period has already appeared. The ancestors in the past said that it can be heard for 3 days without stopping. The adjective for music is no longer used in today's advanced technology. A dream but a reality. Modern technology can already use the so-called music imprint to make people remember the sense of relaxation and enjoyment when listening to music. However, Su Ying seems to prefer this kind of thing that has long been eliminated. When Lily said this when the name of the piece of music was called Starry Sky, a meaningful smile appeared on his face, as if he had found a close friend. He did not return to his battleship, but moved several of his belongings to Lily's battleship. The battleship he was originally on was reduced to ashes under the influence of his power of time. Regarding the fact that her battleship was occupied by him, Lily behaved very calmly, respecting the strong. She was not Su Ying's target. It was an extra joy to be able to save her life now. As for the battleship being regarded as a trophy, it was also nothing can be done. When the battleship's defense cover was raised again and the battleship left the starry sky, the Galactic Federation had already received the news that the Eternal Pirate Group had been completely destroyed 5 minutes later. At this time, Gu Chen, who was leading his men on a journey to chase Lily, also received a message from the people he left behind in the Federation 10 minutes later. Eternal people have been destroyed. When the message came through, he was in the interstellar network, and Huafei was kissing each other. When the news came in, Gu Chen couldn't believe his ears. The Eternal Pirates group was very powerful, even though it was just an A-level pirate group. But in fact, their lethality has far exceeded that of the ordinary A and level pirate group, especially the strength of the leader He-Man, who is not inferior to him, but the Eternal people were all wiped out. And not a single person could escape alive. Yes, 5 minutes ago, at the latitude and longitude. Zhizhi reported the news he had received before to Gu Chen. The signal for help from the Eternal Pirates was captured. The Eternal Man was being chased by Su Ying at that time. She sent a message to the Federation asking for help. Unfortunately, because Su Ying acted too quickly, the spread of the poison of time disappeared before the Eternal Pirates could wait for the Federation's rescue. Gu Chen's face suddenly became serious. He stood up subconsciously. Huafei was leaning on him, but his movement made Huafei step aside. The Eternal Pirates were wiped out in 5 minutes. Gu Chen was a little shocked at this time. He raised his voice and asked. Zhizhi agreed, and Gu Chen's face suddenly turned ugly. Who did this? The Eternal Pirates once violated the humanity of the galaxy. The leader of the Eternal Pirates, He-Man, is not only charged with treason and the crime of destroying the blue stars on his home planet, but also with the felony of robbing a planet and killing millions of people on the planet. The Eternal Pirates have committed crimes over the years. There are numerous traces of crime and he is notorious. If such a pirate group is captured and brought to justice by the Galaxy Federation, I am afraid that the lowest member will most likely be exiled or imprisoned for more than 100 years, and even the leader Herman will most likely be exiled to Camilla. Galaxy, knowing this, the Eternal Pirates still chose to send a signal to the Federation for help in times of crisis. One can imagine how powerful the forces chasing them were at that time. Is it a case committed by the S-class pirate group? Gu Chen wondered. The Eternal Pirate Group is too powerful. The government's regular army failed to find its specific location several times, and its encirclement and suppression plans failed every time. Moreover, since the Eternal Pirates had made it clear that they wanted to surrender, it was impossible for the government to annihilate them again. The most important thing is that this matter was done by the Federation. The information Gu Chen collected at this time could not be like this. Is it the Odina pirate group, or the Nai family from the former Emperor planet? Gu Chen could only guess at the information about the S-level pirate group. The information about the S-level pirate group that Lily couldn't get, because of his special status, Gu Chen knew for sure. The reason why he didn't guess that it was Su Ying was because although Su Ying was strong, she was just one person. However, among the 3 S-class pirates, except for Su Ying, the other 2 pirate groups are capable of destroying eternity in a very short period of time. If they were ordinary A-level pirates, they probably wouldn't have this ability. When Gu Chen asked whether the Eternal Pirate Group was going to be destroyed by the Nai family of the former Emperor Star, Huafei, who was leaning quietly beside him, lowered her head and shook her body heavily. When Chen reacted and hugged his wife into his arms, Huafei hugged him tightly. Gu Chen remembered that his wife was born as a prince of the underworld, but the prince of the underworld was destroyed by the Nai family of the Emperor Star. No wonder now that hearing the name of the Nai family made her lose her temper. He felt some pity in his heart, and gently touched Huafui's forehead. After kissing him, he temporarily stopped asking questions and whispered to Huafui. Fui, I'm sorry, do you want to get off the interstellar network and go back to the room to have a rest? Huafui hugged him tightly, even in the virtual space, but the strength was so strong that even Gu Chen was a little surprised. Aiken, Aiken, I only have you. I have nothing left. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Come back and stay with me, okay? Stop worrying about the pirate group. I miss you. My son and we all need you very much. She begged softly and sobbed, which made Gu Chen's heart soften. The moment he hesitated, Zhizi immediately replied, Sir, the Federation has searched there. The signal where the Queen once stayed, and the energy element of her ice power was found there at the same time. There was also a strange signal, which was interrupted there, and I don't know who it belongs to. As soon as Ji finished speaking, Gu Chen's hand, which was originally patting to comfort Huafui, suddenly froze. He has been chasing the Queen for more than a year, but has not found any information about her. This time, perhaps the Eternal Pirates were eliminated too quickly. The Federation believes that the danger of the Queen has far exceeded their control. Within the scope of her, so she revealed the information that she had been protecting all this time, probably because she wanted him to find out. After all, the Queen's signal had appeared near where the Eternal Pirates had called for help. And the signal did not disappear in the end, which proved that the battleship driven by the Queen did not have an accident in the end, but left. In this way, it is very likely that the Eternal Pirate ship will be destroyed in the hands of the Queen. The Eternal Pirate group is powerful, and its leader He-Man has long been a dangerous figure exceeding S level. However, such a huge pirate group was eliminated by the Queen in a few minutes. And no one escaped alive, so one can imagine what the strength of the Queen has reached. If such a dangerous person is too powerful, the Federation needs to know her specific strength and control her. It is not a big secret in the Federation that Gu Chen has been trying to find out the whereabouts of the Queen for more than a year. In addition, Gu Chen himself also has S-level strength. If he can try to find out the Queen after all, the Federation was probably happy to do this, so now the Federation revealed the news to him. When Gu Chen heard that the Queen might be the one who destroyed the Eternal Pirate ship, he was stunned. Because he was too surprised by the lethality of the Queen, Gu Chen did not notice that when Ji said the words, Huafui, who was lying in his arms, relaxed when she heard Ji's words. Things that come down. The next moment, intelligence spoke again. Sir, there is a communication from the federal government. Do you want to answer it? Gu Chen nodded without hesitation. He glanced at Huafui, not caring to comfort her at this moment, and after telling her to get off the interstellar network and take a good rest, he hurriedly exited the interstellar network. At this time, Lily didn't know that she had inexplicably taken the blame for Su Ying. The Eternal Pirates were destroyed because she was not responsible for it, so she did not get the reward. However, at this time, the Federation paid more attention to her. After rising again and again, she was trapped in this battleship by Su Ying, wandering aimlessly through the interstellar space every day. What's your name? Su Ying asked Lily on the battleship's intelligence. Intelligent machinery's answer. My name is Ori. Are you a boy or a girl? He asked as soon as he asked. The intelligence answered again, Sir, there is no such setting as gender in my settings except for some home artificial intelligence robots. The intelligence that can actually be controlled in spaceships and battleships is far higher than ordinary robots exist. At the same time, because it is only virtual, there is not even an artificial body like a robot. Naturally, gender is generally not set, and most of them are more practical than ornamental. Su Ying nodded when she heard this answer. Do you know what atoms are made of? The intelligence is a bit frozen. It is composed of protons, neutrons, and electrons. Electrons are basic particles and have wave and polarity properties. Su Ying's expression was gentle, while Lily sat silently aside, watching him speechless as he talked about intelligence. She suddenly felt some sympathy for Ji. During the chemical reaction process, the burning of flames will produce energy, and part of this energy appears in the form of light. This is how humans developed photonuclear weapons. He said coldly, the deputy intelligence seemed to be just a fool with a low IQ and insufficient intelligence. He hated the ironclad appearance, and the fingers that he had been obediently resting on his thigh began to rub it impatiently. Under his education, intelligence has no way to speak. Although he is an artificial intelligence, there is a lot of information in the huge database. Although he is called intelligence, he is not a real human being after all, and may not necessarily possess the flexible brain of human beings, was only developed to serve the people. When asked by Su Ying, Lily felt that if intelligence was not just a machine, it would have gone berserk. When she saw Su Ying's movements, she suddenly became a little wary, and he seemed to be gradually losing control of himself. Since becoming his prisoner of war, Lily has gradually begun to understand this S-class pirate to a certain extent in the process of getting along with him. He has an eccentric personality. Sometimes he can stay in the battleship all day doing nothing but watching. He stares at the stars and the sea outside in a daze, but sometimes when he is bored, he will have boring conversations with Ji, such as asking Ji how many meals he eats in a day, etc. Even if he doesn't get an answer, he still enjoys it. Su Ying didn't seem to be good at controlling herself. Even her personality and temper showed no intention of suppressing her. Many normal people would impose restrictions on themselves, but he had no plan at all. He didn't kill people because others made him angry. When he originally pursued the Eternal Pirates, he didn't do it for reasons such as justice and peace. It's just because he wants to do it. He has no reason to kill, and he doesn't act according to reason at all when he wants to do it. He is usually in a bad mood. He plays the piano most of the time. Generally, he is immersed in the melody of playing the piano. He may feel calmer, but it may also make him more irritable. At this time, when he was tapping his fingers on his thigh and imitating the movements of playing the piano, even though he still had a smile on his face, Lily could feel that he must be in an extremely unhappy mood. There is no reason for this feeling, no reason. She could just predict it. Even though the two of them didn't get along for too long and didn't spend much time talking to each other all day long, she somehow felt that she understood his thoughts. Seeing Su Ying about to raise her hand, Lily subconsciously stood up and wanted to grab his hand. She couldn't let Su Ying destroy the intelligence. Without the intelligence's command, this battleship would be controlled by just two people. She might not be able to return to the ground safely, not to mention she didn't want to die with Su Ying, so she was not ready to speak, but Su Ying's actions at this time still made her say, "Sir, it's just an intelligence." As soon as Lily said these words, she felt the humanized gratitude on the face of Gigi's virtual image. Before her hand could even touch Su Ying, he avoided it with lightning speed. Lily didn't even see how he moved, but she had already discovered that he was not in front of Ji, who was originally sitting. Instead, he ducked into the battleship hall. Another corner. "Don't touch me," he warned softly. The long sea of currents hangs down. Just enough to cover his eyebrows. "If you touch me, you won't even have any scum left." Because he lowered his head, Lily didn't see the look on his face clearly, and was about to say that she didn't want to touch him. The meaning of "I just don't want him to destroy his intelligence and it will make a beeping sound in the next moment." The look on Gigi's face became serious again. "Queen, there is a message coming in, do you want to answer it?" At this time, she didn't know who wanted to send her a message. Lily entered the mission this time because the target was the Nye family pirate group. For nearly 20 years, she had been focusing on capturing interstellar pirates and improving her own strength. She rarely interacts with unrelated targets outside of missions. Normally, no one knows her contact information, and no one will send her a message. At this time, there was a message coming in. She hesitated and looked back. At a glance, Su Ying, who was standing in the corner of the battleship hall before, was hiding silently. She pursed her lips, and a large piece of ice covered her face, leaving only her eyes, nostrils, and lips. When she came out of her position, she nodded and told Gigi. Connect. As soon as she finished speaking, the smartphone quickly connected the message into the system. The four-dimensional stereoscopic projector gradually glowed. A tall figure wearing an Allied uniform was sitting on a chair and appeared in front of her, as if he was sitting face to face with her. Generally, that sharp gaze fell on her. Queen, I haven't seen you for many years. The eagle-like eyes glanced around Lily. When he found that she was only wearing the simplest combat uniform, and her face was still hidden under the mask of ice and snow, the man did not seem to be surprised. But quickly spoke, the last time we met, we were in the Twin Star royal family. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Gu Chen. Lily actually recognized Gu Chen the moment she saw him. She really never thought that he would be the one who requested access to the news and interviewed her this time. When the two met on Twin Stars, the process was not pleasant and they even had a fight. Before Lily left, she severely hit Gu Chen's arrogance. At this time, she saw Gu Chen introducing himself calmly. Lily stared at him coldly and interrupted him. Mr. Gu's name is like thunder. I know who you are. Is there anything wrong? His unfinished self-introduction was interrupted by Lily. Gu Chen pursed his lips and his eyes became colder. He looked at Lily up and down. This woman was sitting on a chair with a normal posture. She was not galloping into the star A-level reward. The Golden Huntress had no temperament, but was as ordinary as an ordinary Alliance soldier. She spoke calmly. Although the two of them were talking face to face because of the virtual network, he seemed to feel her through the virtual image. The cold feeling coming from his body was just like the mark left on his cheek by her ice blade, which impressed him deeply. There is indeed something wrong with you this time. The Federation knows that after you became an A-level hunter, you inquired about the S-level pirate group. 9 days ago, you appeared in the area of 7182 degrees 2016-2573 S. At that time, the Eternal Pirates, the regiment's battleship Signal, also sent a request for help to the Federation from that place. After the Eternal Pirates were wiped out that day, Gu Chen was urgently recalled by the federal government. He represented the Interstellar Alliance and participated in the plan produced by the Federation. Firstly, he himself was deeply ashamed of his defeat at the hands of Lily. Secondly, he was curious about the strength of the Queen, who he had regarded as his opponent in the past. Defeating the Queen has become something of his obsession. In addition, as the son of the Alliance Minister of Military Affairs, he should do his best whenever the federal government needs his help. In both public and private matters, even after the Federation proposed a combat plan to him, he did not refuse. After participating in the plan, he quickly obtained S-class privileges from the federal government to inquire about this female hunter. Contact information and contacted her. When Lily heard what he said, she realized that she had taken the blame for Su Ying's destruction of the Eternal Pirates that day. She couldn't laugh or cry. After Gu Chen finished speaking, Lily asked. So because the Eternal Pirates sent a distress signal to the Federation, the pirates were destroyed that day, and now the Federation wants to blame me? Of course not. Gu Chen shook his head. If the Queen's strength has really reached S level, then the value of the Eternal Pirates group cannot be compared with hers. But if the Pirates group is destroyed by you, then it will be proved your strength has reached S and or above. It is necessary for the Federation to re-evaluate you. And you have inquired about the whereabouts of the S-class pirate group Su Ying 675 days ago. Now the Federation has an operation to encircle and suppress S-class pirates and wants to invite you. Participation. Gu Chen spoke out the request made by the federal government this time. He originally thought that since Lily had spent 200 billion credits to inquire about Su Ying's information, when she heard that the government wanted to hire her, she should not hesitate. He hesitated and agreed, but unexpectedly Lily just curled up her lips after hearing what he said. Encircling and suppressing S-class pirates? A mission issued by the Federation. Gu Chen nodded, but before he spoke, Lily flatly refused. If it's Su Ying, forget it. Not to mention that Su Ying was on the battleship at this time. Even if he was not on the battleship, after knowing how dangerous this person was and how he would not be of any help to her mission, Lily would not seek death by provoking him. Especially after knowing that his power is time, Lily will not do such a stupid thing. Her blunt refusal obviously surprised Gu Chen. He was taken aback, and it took him 2 seconds to react. Why? Didn't you check his information? First of all, because I have spent 200 billion credit points to check his information, if I want to deal with him, there is no need to waste 200 billion and cooperate with the government. When Lily said this, her body leaned forward slightly. Gu Chen's virtual figure was very close to her. As soon as she leaned forward, Gu Chen subconsciously stepped back. When he realized that he was just an avatar in front of her, there was no way she could hurt her body even if she took action. When he came back to his senses, he saw Lily sitting back in her seat again, looking at him with a sneer. That look made Gu Chen feel angry, and a feeling of being teased came to his heart, making his eyes instantly flash. He had the intention to kill. Besides, Su Ying is very dangerous. I won't go against him, so I won't agree to the Federation's request. Do you have anything else to say? If not, see you next time. After Lily finished speaking, she put her hand on her wrist. Go up and make an action to cut off the communication. To be continued. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan ERWR. Chapter 1058. Su Ying is dangerous? How did you know? As soon as Gu Chen saw Lily's action of hanging up the communication, he instinctively reached out to stop her, but because the two of them were only communicating through a stereo projector, they were not really face to face. So his action was naturally in vain. Have you met him? After all, Gu Chen was born in the military, and his observation skills were very keen. He immediately noticed that there was something wrong in Lily's words, and asked subconsciously. This matter was originally not a secret to Lily, and she never thought of hiding it. Gu Chen was entrusted by the Federation to come to her door. If she didn't refuse to make it clear this time, she would definitely be in trouble in the future. She didn't want to follow the government plan to join forces to fight against Su Ying, especially after knowing about Su Ying's time power. She was not tired of living and wanted to die, so at first she was prepared to acquiesce that she had met Su Ying. But at this time, Gu Chen's attitude made her feel that something was wrong. Lily was suspicious, and naturally she would not admit it. I haven't seen him, but since he is regarded as an SS and level dangerous person by the Federation, I and the A-level pirates, after dealing with the group, even the intelligence of Su Ying's existence would remind me, so I naturally knew that he was very dangerous. If it were an S level, I might still fight, but it has already reached the SS and level. If I had known this earlier, I would not have done anything. I won't spend credits to check. Although I love money, there is no need to risk my life. Although she objected, Gu Chen obviously didn't believe it. He even instinctively ignored Lily's words about never meeting Su Ying, and got a little excited. Su Ying's information has not been completed yet. If you have met with him, you should report to the Star Alliance immediately. Enter his characteristic personality, appearance, and abilities into the Alliance database. Su Ying has always been very mysterious, and she has always been very mysterious. Most of the people he had fought against only knew that this person's killing methods were very strange, and that Gu Chen was a murderer because of his background. He knows more than ordinary people. The reason why the Federation knows his name is because Su Ying escaped from the Federation's secret prison. Those imprisoned there are all extremely dangerous federal felons who have committed serious crimes in the galaxy. People who are extremely lethal and are not controlled by the Federation are deemed extremely dangerous by the Federation and have unstable factors. They will be arrested on unstable charges after committing a crime. And almost all of the people who can be imprisoned in this secret prison have SS and level lethality or destructive power. Since the founding of the Federation, no more than 100 people have been imprisoned in this secret prison. Top scientists and psychotherapists live there, and they have the most advanced brain testing equipment. Most of these prisoners have both supernatural powers and mental powers. He has made outstanding contributions to the research of the Federation. In fact, the method for developing the mental power of everyone in the galaxy today is the most important reason that can stimulate the emergence of ordinary people's mental power. After studying the prisoners in this secret prison, they found out. Those who can enter this secret prison have almost no chance of getting out in their lifetime. From birth to death, the process of birth, old age, illness, and death seems to ordinary people, but for these prisoners, it simply doesn't exist. Because most of the prisoners are people with supernatural powers and mental abilities, even if they die unfortunately, their brain stems will still be completely removed by scientists, cultured in vessels, and stimulated, so that they can use other methods. A form of living. Gu Chen has never been to the secret prison, but his father, Minister Gu, has visited it once because he is affiliated with the Interstellar Alliance military minister and has a high position. After returning, even with Minister Gu's original toughness, even after a long time, I still get pale when I mention this place. One can imagine how terrifying and perverted it is. The people inside were unable to survive or die. No one had been able to escape smoothly in thousands of years, but Su Ying was the only exception. 18 years ago, Su Ying escaped from this secret federal prison, which was said to have never been successfully escaped in thousands of years, and she escaped by herself. Destroyed this large prison that had existed since the establishment of the Federation. After he left, the people, objects, and important information stored inside were completely destroyed in an instant. Whether it was the scientists or the prison guards, or maybe it was the extremely vicious prisoners imprisoned in this secret prison. He killed them all without leaving a single one alive. Everyone working in this secret prison is not easy to deal with. Even the guards here have reached the S-level rating standard. The security system here is still far more lethal than the one in the Twin Stars Palace. His nanolight nuclear weapons are many times more advanced, but no one knows what method he used to completely destroy the entire prison, which was originally full of dangers, including people and objects, in a special way. The destruction of the prison caused the Federation to suffer huge losses. Apart from the loss of various information, except for his name Su Ying, the Federation has so far not even found anything about his powers or the method of destroying the secret prison that day. Come out. It was also because Su Ying committed such a major crime that she ranked first among the wanted interstellar pirates, surpassing the vicious Nye family pirate group. After all, although the people in the Federation did not say anything afterwards, they actually knew in their hearts that even if the Nye family were imprisoned in the secret prison, it would be impossible to escape and destroy the people and things in the prison so completely. A breeze. The Federation has been trying its best to find Su Ying's whereabouts, and has always wanted to understand Su Ying's abilities and strength. It hopes to record the information of such a dangerous person and try to control it within a controllable range. However, because I don't know Su Ying's appearance, bloodline, anal membrane and other information, I can't do anything about it. Now Gu Chen didn't expect that he was just inadvertently asking for cooperation with Lily at the request of the Federation, but he guessed from her attitude that she might have met and dealt with Su Ying, and Gu Chen suddenly became a little excited. Get up, where are you? Give me the coordinates and I'll come right away. When Lily heard Gu Chen's words, she couldn't help but sneered. Mr. Gu, whether Su Ying's information has been completed is your business. I have already said that I have never met him, let alone fought against him. Even if I have met him, it obviously belongs to me. My privacy has nothing to do with you. As for whether I want to go to the Interstellar Alliance to report, I don't need you to take care of it. As soon as Lily said these words, Gu Chen's face suddenly looked very ugly. Even through the virtual image, the livid face still showed Gu Chen's extremely bad mood at this time, but Lily had no intention of restraining her attitude. As for where I am, I don't need to tell you, and I don't have to tell you. Her attitude suddenly made Gu Chen clenched his fists. If she knew about Su Ying's whereabouts and reported it to the Federation through herself, you can imagine how much contribution she would make this time. She might even be a 5-star general. After that, the Federation made an exception and allowed him to join the Federal Military Department under the age of 60. Obviously, the information was right in front of him at his fingertips, but Lily was extremely uncooperative. Gu Chen's eyes suddenly narrowed, and he looked a little bit ice cold. You repeatedly said that you have never seen her. I don't believe you. I suspect that you are hiding Su Ying's whereabouts. You should return to the federal government for investigation and use a lie detector. I am not a federal prisoner. Lily was impatient to tell Gu Chen more, her brows furrowed tighter and tighter, but Gu Chen had already begun to threaten. Let me remind you, Queen, I admit that your ability is indeed good, but as a citizen of the Alliance, you also have the right to respond to the government's call. You have no chance to refuse. Do you know that you have information about Su Ying in your mind? How precious, as long as it is connected through brain waves, the intelligence can completely copy the image of Su Ying in your mind, and his information can be improved in the future. He was still talking, and he had obviously confirmed that Lily and Su Ying had met. Although this was a fact, the words spoken by Gu Chen at this time made Lily unbearable. Then others can spend 200 billion credit points to check his more complete information? And then all the secrets in my mind are seen by the federal government? My superpowers, my physical skills, and even my level of strength show it in front of you without reservation. Gu Chen, is there something wrong with your brain? I have already said that I have never met Su Ying, but I just don't want to deal with SS and level dangerous people. If one is allowed to intelligently connect to one's own brainwaves for shock and indoctrination, a careless person may even become a fool and a useless person. Even with the development of technology today, external injuries and internal injuries can be nourished by nutrient solution in an extremely fast time. Repair and recovery, but human brain nerves and thinking cannot be copied. No one will agree to Gu Chen's request, not to mention that even if this kind of indoctrination is not dangerous, Lily will not agree to let her secrets be discovered and studied by the Federation. You can get out. She stretched out her hand to summon the smartphone, and was about to tell the smartphone to cut off Gu Chen's communication, but Gu Chen's eyes were gloomy and he said sternly. In front of the glory of the federal government, Madam, your vision is too short-sighted and you should not care about personal gains and losses. If you are still like this, I will apply to the government for enforcement. After he scolded him, he said extremely forcefully, you as citizens of the galaxy, while enjoying the rights provided by the government, you should also pay your share of responsibilities. As soon as Lily heard this, she laughed. I heard you farting. As soon as she finished speaking, Gu Chen's eyes showed murderous intent, and the hand that he had placed in front of his lower abdomen instinctively clenched into a fist. Madam, if I were you, I shouldn't be so provocative. To be continued. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan ERWR. Chapter 1059. Don't talk to me about citizenship and obligations, and don't talk to me about enforcement. I don't enjoy any rights and protections provided by the government, and I don't belong to any planet here. Mr. Gu, I come from the exiled galaxy. is not under the control of the federal government. I have not violated federal laws. If the federal government wants to restrain me with unnecessary charges, then you can come. If you want to suppress me with any citizen's obligations and rights, you can get lost." After Lily said this, she didn't waste any more nonsense with Gu Chen this time and directly asked Smart to hang up the communication. When he sent another message asking for a call, Lily refused. The wise and martial brother-in-law in the memory of the original owner seemed extremely disgusting to Lily at this time. She was about to get up when intelligence appeared again, saying that there was another communication requesting access. This time, it was not Gu Chen, but the Galaxy Federation. A message sent directly from a person in charge of the Central Military Department. "Queen, I would like to apologize to you in advance for Mr. Gu's gaffe," they continued endlessly. When Lily received the message, she was about to warn these people not to pester her again and again, but she didn't expect this. As soon as the person in charge arrived, he first apologized to Gu Chen for asking her to return to the Federation for investigation. After the red-faced person left, another bad-faced person came. Lily sneered and said nothing. She has been a bounty hunter for nearly 20 years, but this is her first time dealing with people from the Federation. At this time, she is becoming increasingly impatient with the people of the Federation, just because the ice mask on her face blocks her ugly expression. That's all. The person who sent the communication from the Federation this time was about 40 years old, wearing a crisp uniform and glasses. With a gentle look on his face, after saying this, seeing that Lily didn't make a sound, he knew that this female hunter, who was now famous in the Federation, was probably in an extremely unhappy state at this time, so he paused. As if she didn't notice Lily's dissatisfaction at all, she spoke warmly. Mr. Gu was anxious because he knew Su Ying's whereabouts. "I will apologize to you on his behalf. It's just Su Ying's matter, it's important. Your Majesty, you have checked his private information and know that he is an SS and dangerous person. So do you know where he is from?" He smiled, as if he wanted to say such words to arouse Lily's interest, and Lily stared at him coldly. "I'm not interested in where he comes from. I've already said that I have never met Su Ying. The reason why I refused Gu Chen's request was purely because I didn't want to get involved after seeing that Su Ying was an SS plus level dangerous person." This is muddy water. After she finished speaking, she saw that the man was smiling and his expression didn't change, and he obviously didn't believe her words. Lily continued, "I have dealt with an A-level pirate group. In the beginning, he was greedy. Because of that, I did think about the idea of becoming an S-class pirate. But the strength of A-class pirates. I have been a bounty hunter for many years, and I have a little understanding of it. Sir, as an S-class pirate, Su Ying only has one a person, not even a battleship, can be ranked among the S-class pirates. It can be seen that this person is far stronger than the A-class pirate group. His strength has even surpassed the pirate group with large mechas and battleships, and even the federal government. Even such a huge organization cannot get his information. You can imagine how dangerous this person is." Lily finished. After a pause, the man obviously didn't expect that she would say such words. He was obviously a little surprised and reached out to push up his glasses. "I'm not a fool. What kind of credits can be earned and what cannot be earned? I know very well in my heart. What's more, I don't know what the Federation is planning, but you don't want to count on me. Even Su Ying's information, I don't even know if I am a male or a female. The attribute values are not clear. My abilities, physical skills, and overall strength are just your rough assessments. I don't know the specifics. Gu Chen actually told me that the Federation wanted to hire me to join the effort to suppress Su Ying." When Lily said this, she couldn't help but laugh. The Federation's behavior is really ugly, so it's natural for me to refuse. As soon as she finished speaking, something flashed across the face of the man wearing glasses. He looked embarrassed, but he soon regained his composure, smiled and was about to speak, when Lily said again, "No matter how many more people come from the Federation, my answer will be the same. I have never met Su Ying. Mr. Gu Chen threatens me with federal laws. I have never enjoyed the protection of the Federation. Don't talk to me about what citizens should do with the government duty to cooperate, sir. I came from the planet Camilla. In this galaxy, that sinful city has been abandoned by the entire galaxy, so I do not belong to the Federation or a citizen under the jurisdiction of the government. I am the Federation does not have any obligations." Lily sat lazily on the chair and stared at the federal leader, who was silenced by her with her lips curled up. "If you want to use unfounded charges against me, then please do it." After Gu Chen was hung up on the phone, the people from the Federation quickly contacted her. Lily concluded that the people from the Federation did not want to be her enemy for the time being, but she was actually not that afraid. Her current strength was no less than that of Gu Chen. A-class pirate group, and because she was alone, it would not be easy for the federal government to capture her. On the contrary, if she wanted to do something, it would be easy. In the case of throwing a taboo, as long as she does not touch the bottom line of the Federation too much, they may not really fight her to the death. Sure enough, as soon as Lily said this, the person in charge could hear the displeasure in her words, and seemed to smile bitterly, and did not speak for a while. Lily guessed that he was not embarrassed during this period of silence. This person should have conveyed what he had just communicated and chatted with to a higher level existence, and was waiting for instructions. "We have no intention of being an enemy of the Queen. When you say this, we know that Mr. Gu may indeed misunderstand you. I didn't know that you escaped from the planet Camilla. In this case, it is true that someone from the Federation for you, a large part of these laws are beyond your control." As if he had received instructions, this person quickly returned to his previous gentle and decent appearance. "Su Ying's strength has indeed reached SS and level or above. We don't know enough about his information. We thought you were interested in Su Ying this time, so we came to you rashly. However, since you have never met him, you don't need to take Mr. Gu's request to heart." After the person in charge finished speaking, his body leaned forward slightly. "But it is true that we want to hire you to encircle and suppress the S-class pirate group. In recent years, the stronger the S-class pirate group has become, the greater the threat to the inhabitants of the planets in the galaxy. In order to express our apology, we also want to show that I want to sincerely hire you to temporarily join the government army. After asking my superiors for instructions, my superiors made an exception and said that if you are willing to accept our employment, we can transfer the information of the remaining two S-class pirate groups into your database. And after the encirclement and suppression operation, regardless of whether this operation is successful or not, I would like to promise you on behalf of the federal government that I can grant you the status of an S-class hunter, and you will be able to choose from the latest warships and weapons currently being researched by the Federation. You see? How? This time Lily would be too stupid if she still couldn't see that the Federation was trying to test her strength. Because of her unknown origins, and because of her special identity as a bounty hunter, she didn't fill in much information when registering as a bounty hunter. If she was just an ordinary hunter, but with her strength, the Federation could not sit still at this time. Wanting to know more about her and assess her danger is in line with the consistent practice of the Galaxy Federation. Lily has been on the mission for such a long time. The purpose of registering as a bounty hunter was to find out the whereabouts of the Nye family and fulfill the wish of the original owner. At this time, the Federation placed such a bait in front of her, even though she knew that the Federation had an ulterior motive. But Lily still agreed without hesitation. "I agree." When she said this, the virtual figure sitting in front of her also breathed a long sigh of relief. "I will issue the employment task to your intelligence in a separate form later. As long as you accept the mission, I will send 2 pieces of S-class pirate information to your brain database. After you confirm the mission target, You can contact us to discuss the next step. There are other questions, Queen. Lily shook her head. After the gentleman wished her a good day and said goodbye to her, his virtual image flashed and quickly disappeared. At the same time, Lily's brain bound to the hunter sent a mission request almost immediately after the man ended the communication. Lily entered the hunter's unique network and saw the sweeping message sent by the federal government. The mission of the S-class pirate group had the word justice in gold representing the identity of the federal government, and a secret was added at the end. The system confirmed her identity. After she accepted the mission, the smart library indeed accepted it. News about the remaining two S-class pirate groups came from the Federation. She clicked on the first copy, and when she saw the words Ni Clan, the remnant of the Emperor planet written on it, the ice and snow on Lily's face slowly melted away, revealing a smile. After searching for so many years and spending so much effort, she finally obtained the information about the Ni family. Now that she got what she wanted, there was no need for Lily to click on the remaining information. Before she clicked on the Ni family's information, she directly summoned the intelligence and ordered it to contact the Federation personnel, saying that he chose the Ni family. Of the two pieces of information the Federation gave her, she only clicked on one and left the other untouched. The Federation had noticed it and had no doubts about her choosing the Ni family at this time. What they said before has already made people upset. They checked the people who were thrown into the Camilla galaxy in the past 100 years, especially a strong woman like her. Unfortunately, the final result was nothing. When it was determined that Lily would take over the mission, when they saw that she had chosen the Ni family, people in the Federation even called an emergency parliament. To be continued. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan ERWR. Chapter 1060. Among the two S-class pirate groups, the Ni family is actually more difficult and terrifying than the other pirate group. The lethality of technology is sometimes greater than manpower, but this time the federal government wants to test Lily's strength. The possibility of choosing the Ni family to hide their strength is naturally smaller. In addition, this mission is her own choice. After finalizing it, the two parties contacted again and agreed that in half a month, Lily would go to the Interstellar Alliance, where she would take her with her set off. After finishing the matter, Lily breathed a sigh of relief, and just as she was about to get up, a faint voice sounded not far behind her, "Have you checked on me?" It turned out that Su Ying, who had left the battleship hall and Lily hadn't noticed where he went before, appeared silently behind her. Lily hadn't even noticed Su Ying's appearance before. He might as well have been so cold. The sound startled her. If Su Ying had wanted to attack her, he might have succeeded at that moment. Lily quickly turned around and stared at Su Ying. He looked at her curiously. When he mentioned that Lily was checking him, there was no emotion or anger on his face, and there was only pure curiosity on his face, but Lily didn't show any emotion at all. Dare to relax, she wanted to retreat, but at this time, under Su Ying's gaze, she could not move at all. "When were you in this hall?" She did not answer Su Ying's question, but asked him a question. Su Ying frowned, but still answered seriously, "I have always been here." He said that she had been in the hall the whole time, but Lily clearly didn't feel his presence just now. Most importantly, she had entered the projection video with people from the federal government before, and if Su Ying was really here, the other party would definitely find it out immediately, but Lily was sure that the other party didn't find him out. A person can lie in his mouth, but no matter how convincing he is, he can never lie to himself. There will always be some clues between the eyebrows. So when the people from the Federation were talking to her before, Lily could tell that this person was distracted and waiting for instructions from her superiors, But Lily was sure that the people from the Federation didn't notice Su Ying because before the communication started, she had seen the hall, and Su Ying was not here, but now Su Ying said that he had never left. As if it could be seen that Lily didn't believe what she said, Su Ying said casually. Using the time interval, you and I are in different time periods, but I can see you, but you can't see me. After he finished speaking, he seemed to feel that his explanation was not accurate and rigorous. He frowned, straightened his expression, and was about to explain again, but Lily had already interrupted what he was about to say. I understand. She roughly understood what Su Ying meant by different time periods. Even if he didn't express it very accurately, it should be because of his ability to control time, the different time periods he mentioned. Just like what Lily understood before, others seem to be in this time, and he can use his powers to put himself in the future or the previous time period. So Su Ying said that he was also in the battleship hall, but Lily and the people from the Federation couldn't see him. This situation was as if they were in the same place, but in different dimensions. The situation was roughly the same. Lily didn't know if she understood it correctly, but Su Ying's time power was indeed powerful. The more she understood, the more wary she became about this person. I checked you, but I didn't know it was you. What I originally wanted to check was the pirate group of the Nai family of the former emperor. She reached out and rubbed her eyebrows, preparing to find out about the Nai family pirate group. Origin simply said, "So Mr. Su, if you don't kill me, can we part ways?" She has finally found the whereabouts of the Nai family, which is the key point of her mission. She couldn't give up. Lily really didn't want to be an enemy of a dangerous person like Su Ying, but if he refused to let her go, then no matter how dangerous this person was, Lily would probably have to fight with him. The matter was related to her own existence. Lily's expression was very serious. Su Ying was silent for a moment. "I'll go with you." As soon as he said these words, Lily was a little surprised. She had not been with Su Ying for a long time. Although the two had met once before, it was not a friendship, and she was not arrogant enough to think that the relationship between the two of them during this period of time made Su Ying's relationship with her grow by leaps and bounds, and she was willing to help her get revenge. Su Ying's ability to say such things really surprised Lily. She couldn't help but ask. "You want to go too? Why?" He looked a little serious and frowned. "I just don't like these scientists because of the destruction of the federal secret prison. Most of the encrypted information has been destroyed by him, and the federal people, I only know his name, but in fact I don't know many things." "Do you know the name of my home planet?" He looked down at Lily coldly and asked. When Lily shook her head, he didn't take it seriously and just smiled sweetly. The young man was originally a little cold. Because of this smile, it was as if the ice and snow on his face melted in an instant. His eyes were like two crescent moons, and his fair face became radiant. "I was born on a celestial planet, which is a planet. It is a very small planet. In the history of the Milky Way, I am afraid that hundreds of billions of humans have never heard of this planet. There are not many people on the planet, with a population of less than 100,000. However, everyone born on the planet has a nickname." He said here and paused. "It's called the Time Clan." Even in the memory of the original owner, Lily had never heard of the name Time Clan. Now when she heard Su Ying talk about it, she did not interrupt him. Su Ying smiled and then said, "Born in heaven, there are very few people on the planet who can awaken their superpowers, and once their superpowers are awakened, they have the ability to control time. This ability is so unnatural that after being known to the federal government, it was decided that the Time Clan on the Sky Planet was too dangerous. Decision makers from the governments of various planets voted together, and at lightning speed, nano-weapons were prepared to destroy the Sky Planet. Su Ying was a survivor of the Sky Planet in that war. Just surviving sometimes does not mean luck, because he was used as a trophy and was secretly taken back to the federal prison. It has become one of the living bodies that scientists can describe inside. He doesn't even have a name there, just a code name. He is the secret of the Time Clan's survival. Scientists study the reasons for the formation of the Time Clan's abilities all day long. I want to use this to unlock the genetic code lock, so as to find out the secret that can crack the human lifespan gene, so that the human lifespan can be greatly increased. Su Ying spent her childhood and teenage years in prison until she awakened her powers. But the Nye family is not on the same page as the scientists from Destruction Sky Planet, although Lily had guessed that Su Ying might not necessarily let her go. After all, in a sense, I was one of his trophies, but I didn't expect him to say that he would go with me to find the way to the Nye family. Such a strong and psychologically problematic man, following her around was like setting off a bomb. No one knew what he would do one day. She was about to convince him, but Su Ying had already turned her head away. Open. I just want to do this. What I said has nothing to do with what I want to do. He was still smiling just now, but in the blink of an eye he turned his face, with a sinister expression on his face. You can listen to it as a story. Sorry, I don't usually communicate with others, so you may have misunderstood. Lily was stunned for a while before she realized what he meant by his words. It should be that he wanted to trouble the Nye family with him. It's not because he hates Wajaiwu. The scientists who destroyed the Sky Planet hate the Nye family. He just wanted to say something on a whim. Maybe he was trying to chat with her, but she got it wrong. Lily, when he wanted to talk again, Su Ying no longer wanted to communicate with her. He sat down in front of the piano he had brought. After a while, the music of Starry Sky gradually sounded. Usually when he plays the piano, it's when the mood is unstable. Naturally, Lily would not provoke him now. Su Ying said she would go to Nai's house with her, but she had no ability to leave Su Ying and go alone, so half a month later, the battleship still brought the two people to the Interstellar Alliance. Before docking the battleship, Lily had sent a message to the people in the Federation. When the Alliance lifted the alert and her warship landed quickly, the people from the Federation who were ready to receive her were already waiting on the mecha pad where Lily docked the warship. The leader was Gu Chen. He was wearing a soft mecha, which gave him a much more dangerous feeling than he had many years ago, even though half a month ago he had an unpleasant incident with Lily because he discussed Su Ying's affairs. But because of Gu Chen's super strength, the leader of the expedition to the Imperial Planet Pirates this time was still Gu Chen. As if he was afraid that Lily would feel unhappy about this, the federal leader who had contacted Lily that day was also present. He smiled and watched Lily come out of the battleship. Although the two had had a virtual face-to-face conversation, he was still a little surprised when Lily, whose face was covered with ice and snow, actually appeared in front of the person in charge. This is a woman who looks very young in terms of body shape and hair color. She is wearing an ordinary combat uniform, and is accompanied by a young man wearing a white protective suit with a somewhat depressed and unhappy expression. Queen, in this operation, the Federation is led by Mr. Gu. Mr. Gu has had the experience of fighting against the Nye family. He has an understanding of the Nye family. In addition, Mr. Gu's strength evaluation has reached S and or above. Therefore, the Federation is in after comprehensive consideration. Mr. Gu is still the leader. I hope you don't mind. Lily nodded. The destruction of the Emperor planet 20 years ago was indeed related to Gu Chen, and he was indeed an experienced soldier. This time the operation was led by him. As early as when he contacted Lily that day, Lily had already guessed that he might be the leader of the operation. Although Gu Chen had had a verbal dispute with her, the matter was related to his mission, and Lily would not keep arguing with the people of the Federation for the sake of morale at this time. Seeing that she had no objection, the people from the Federation breathed a sigh of relief and turned to ask Su Ying, this. Lily was deeply afraid that Su Ying would say his name, so she explained before he spoke, this is my friend. He is going to be with me on this trip to the Nye family. In the past, the Queen, a hunter, had always been a loner and had never heard of any friends. As soon as Lily finished speaking, the head of the Federation exchanged glances with Gu Chen and then nodded. The young man wearing glasses briefly told Lily what he needed to pay attention to this time, and finally said, with some detailed information and traces of the Nye family, the Federation roughly inferred based on the captured residual signals. Their location will be discussed in detail with you after boarding the battleship. Lord Gu will discuss it with you in detail, so this time I wish you all to come back victorious and make great contributions to the Federation. After the young man finished speaking, he obviously had other things to be busy with. So I took my leave. There was a huge battleship on the Mecha platform not far away. Lily took the lead in walking towards the direction of the battleship. Gu Chen's eyes fell on her first, and then on Su Ying. He is. Gu Chen suddenly spoke. Lily's whole body was tense, her mind was racing rapidly, and she was about to interrupt Gu Chen when she heard a rush of footsteps not far away, and a soft female voice rang out. Aiken, the female voice interrupted what Gu Chen was about to say. He was suspicious of Su Ying, but at this time it was obvious that Hua Fui's appearance attracted his attention, and he almost did not hesitate. Then turned around. Therefore, Gu Chen did not see that after he turned around, Lily also turned around. This was the first time Lily met Hua Fui after entering the mission. At this moment, she moved her lips almost instinctively. Compared with the Hua Fui in the memory of the original owner, the Hua Fui at this time had lost her innocence, but she was still as beautiful. Time left almost no traces on her face. What surprised Lily was that her temperament was as gentle as water, as if she had changed herself abruptly because of her married life or for the man she loved most. In the original owner's impression, Hua Fui was a strong and opinionated woman, with a strong yet elegant temperament. She had the blood of the Prince of Pluto's Hua family, and she always had arrogance in her brows. Hua Bei grew up with her. Hua Fui had made an engagement with Gu Chen since Hua Lily was born. The original owner had seen Hua Fui and Gu Chen together countless times, but at that time Hua Fui was as dazzling as a ball of bright pearls. She never showed such a grieved and attached look in front of Gu Chen. The eldest princess of Fahrenheit has always been reserved and restrained, even if she is in love with her fiancé. It is really hard to imagine that just 20 years later, she was so bright and moving in her impression that day. After the destruction of Prince Pluto, she was strong and joined for the sake of her sister. In the Hunter organization, Hua Fui, who is as dashing and handsome as any man, would actually change so much after getting married. Lily was suspicious. She turned her head and slowly entered the battleship. Fui, you. Aiken, don't go, stay with me, okay? I don't want you to take risks, don't go. I only ask you this, okay? Hua Fui threw herself into Gu Chen's arms, cry quietly. Fui, this is a mission, not to mention dealing with the Nye family. I have experience. Besides, they killed your tribe and destroyed your planet that day. It was not for this reason that you have been unable to sleep well for more than 20 years. Really? You always remember your home planet that was destroyed that day, and your brothers, sisters, and relatives. I know that, and I have always wanted to avenge you. The Nye family escaped back then, and now I. Gu Chen said lovingly. He stretched out his hand to wipe the tears on her face. Before she finished speaking, Hua Fui shook her head desperately. No, 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 I don't want revenge, I don't want revenge. Aiken, you don't want to go, please, it's okay if someone else goes, but just listen to me this time, okay? For the sake of your two sons, you said you love me. When Lily heard this, she felt suspicious. In order to prevent Gu Chen from discovering her strangeness, she did not listen anymore. Instead, she quickly entered the battleship. The staff in the battleship pointed out the room she was in. After asking about Su Ying, at this time, Lily hesitated and still fabricated the identity of Su Ying as her husband. First of all, Su Ying is too dangerous and may cause her trouble at any time. It is best for her to keep her under her nose and keep an eye on her for peace of mind. In addition, instead of making up other identities and accepting Gu Chen's cross-examination later, it would be better to just say that Su Ying is her husband, so as to prevent Gu Chen from waiting to get suspicious before asking further questions. Fortunately, Su Ying didn't mean to expose Lily's words. The two of them were temporarily living in the same room. He was still a little unhappy because he didn't bring his piano. About 15 minutes later, the optical brain between Lily's wrists rang. When she got up, Gu Chen asked her to meet. After the crew arrived, the battleship had already started to move. Gu Chen had obviously comforted Huafei. He changed into a uniform. Because of his wife's tears when parting, his expression was obviously a little cold at this time. When he saw Lily, looked her up and down, and said calmly, "I offended you last time, but now we are considered partners. Can't the queen show her true face? When you should show your true colors to others, you will always show your true colors to others." Lily blocked his words, and suddenly the topic changed. "The lady I just saw is Mr. Gu's wife." She didn't know why, but she suddenly asked about Huafei. Gu Chen frowned, but because the person greeting his wife was a lady, he wasn't jealous, but it was obvious that he didn't want to tell others too much about his personal affairs. So after nodding, he called out the intelligence, and was about to tell Lily some basic information about the Nai family, but Lily didn't look at the information at all, and instead continued. "I heard that Mr. Gu had made a marriage contract when he was a child with Huafei, the eldest princess of the Hua family, the former prince of Hades. Every generation of the Hua family must have a princess. Every 3 generations of princesses have special powers. This generation only gave birth to 2 princesses. Because of this, the Nai family of the Emperor Star wanted to exchange the little princess with the Hua family on that day, but the Hua family refused. The Emperor Star ignored the laws of the Interstellar Federation and violated humanitarianism, launched an attack on the Prince of Pluto, and destroyed the Prince of Pluto." When Gu Chen heard her talk about the past events between Pluto and the Emperor, his expression seemed a little impatient. What happened that day made a big fuss in the galaxy, and it was not a secret. He was not surprised that Lily would know this. But he was surprised that this strong woman who didn't seem to like criticism and gossip would tell him this. He stared at Lily coldly and said nothing. Pluto Prince was destroyed. In order to avenge his fiancée, Mr. Gu destroyed the Emperor planet 2 years later. Only then did he accidentally learn that the eldest princess and the youngest princess were alive. After learning that Mr. Gu avenged the Hua family, the eldest princess married you. So what? Gu Chen didn't know why, but when he heard Lily's tone, he felt a little uncomfortable. Her topics always revolved around his wife, which made Gu Chen feel a little unhappy. "She is originally my fiancée, it is only natural that you marry me. Now that I have finished my questions, can you answer me about what you brought this time?" He wanted to turn his words to Su Ying, but Lily seemed not to hear him and smiled. The Emperor's planet was destroyed, but the elite of the Nai family escaped and became interstellar pirates. Therefore, this time the Federation wanted to encircle and exterminate the remnants of the Nai family. Lord Gu was sent out because he had had a fight with the Nai family. "What exactly do you want to say?" Gu Chen's voice turned cold after hearing her words. He was about to speak, but Lily didn't give him a chance to speak at all. "What I want to say is that Mr. Gu married the eldest princess of the Hua family. The Pluto Prince star where the Hua family was located was destroyed by the Nai family. Why did Mr. Gu go on an expedition this time? Logically speaking, he also wanted to avenge the former Pluto Prince star. Why did he go with the Pluto Prince star? The Nai family has a blood feud with the eldest princess of the Hua family, but she keeps asking you not to go." This is what Lily was most suspicious of after hearing what Huafei said. She even began to suspect that there was a relationship between Huafei and Gu Chen. Isn't there something else that the original owner doesn't know about? In the plot, the original owner lived a confused life and was confused until his death. That day she met Xiao Yu in the Twin Stars. Xiao Yu once asked her before she died why Master Gu's wife and sister fell into the hands of a second-rate interstellar businessman. Why did the Xiao family only accept goods but made an exception to accept a person? The answer: there was only one, and she was given to Xiao Yu as a commodity by Huafei and Gu Chen. The original Hua Lily didn't realize this until her death. Maybe she did. Maybe her sister's love in the past was so deep that she didn't think about it at all, and she didn't dare to think about it. Lily found something suspicious at this time, and she was vaguely excited, as if another village had a bright future. When she originally thought that the mission had failed, she suddenly discovered something that the original owner didn't know. Does that mean, even though the original owner's wish has failed this time, is it still possible for her to make up for the original owner's unfulfilled wish in other ways in the end? To be continued. Canon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan ERWR. Chapter 1061. What on earth do you want to say? Originally, Lily was talking about him, and Gu Chen could still endure it, but once he heard that she was talking about Huafei, Gu Chen suddenly became angry, as if he had been touched by someone. When he arrived at Nilan, he slapped the chair he was sitting on hard. The chair was originally made of special materials, but when he slapped it, it shattered with a crash. He wasn't even wearing a soft mecha, just an ordinary uniform. Today's Gu Chen is more than 20% stronger than when he was seen in Twin Stars. But so what? He is not the same person he was back then, and Lily is no longer the sea-level huntress who had to be embarrassed when she fought with him. Gu Chen's actions did not frighten her at all. On the contrary, those chair fragments were about to bounce up. At that moment, her body was bounced away by the spiritual energy surrounding her, and layers of frost appeared on her combat uniform, blocking these external attacks. This time the Federation hired you for a mission. Does my housework have anything to do with this mission? Huafei is Gu Chen's counterpart. No one else can even touch her. He has been his childhood sweetheart with Huafei for many years and loves her. It's to the bone, and he pitied her after marriage because the planet was destroyed. She was such a proud woman at first, but she became so cautious because of Pluto. It was too late for him to love her, and it wasn't enough to protect her. She really held her in the palm of his hand. They were all afraid that she would fall, but Lily kept arguing with her at this time, which simply made Gu Chen uncomfortable when he was questioned. The treasure he held in his hand would not allow anyone to discredit her in the slightest, even if she didn't know it herself. At this time, Gu Chen didn't even mean to hide that Huafei was his weakness. He stared at Lily coldly, with a face that showed murderous intent without hesitation. If Lily continued to smear Huafei, he would rather disobey the federal government's order. He also wanted to get into a fight with Lily. I'm just curious. For Princess Hua, she should be happy when her husband avenges her blood. She should even propose to go on an expedition with Mr. Gu, right? Why would Mr. Gu not go? Is there something in between? What's the secret? Gu Chen's ferocious expression scared others, but it couldn't scare Lily. She still asked her question calmly. Gu Chen's face was livid, and his fists were clenched. Is it strange that she is worried about something happening to me? Why would she go on an expedition with me? She is just a weak woman who needs my protection. She is not like you. Weak. Lily keenly heard what Gu Chen blurted out subconsciously, and felt something was wrong. The eldest princess of Fahrenheit has a mental strength of A and level or above. With such excellent qualifications, even in the entire galaxy, it is impossible to find hundreds of people. Gu sir, you actually say that such a person with mental abilities is weak. So what? In my eyes, She will always be a weak woman who needs my protection under my wings. Do you have any other questions? Gu Chen is worthy of being a 5-star or above warrior in the Star Alliance. These words make it difficult to tell the truth. Come on vacation. His expression was calm, and he didn't feel panic at all after saying the wrong thing. If Beihee hadn't repeatedly recalled the original owner's memories and plots over the years, I'm afraid that looking back at Chen's nonsense and deceiving her so seriously, his acting skills could even be fake. He had hidden it from her, but just because his words were so true, they might sound flawless to others, but to Lily, they sounded like lies everywhere. In the plot, the original owner remembers the sister who is as proud as a pearl, when the two sisters escape from Pluto. She nearly died of starvation among the stars. But he never complained about tiredness and hardship. He was willing to kneel in front of others to beg and let go of his arrogant and self-respecting sister for the sake of her food. In Hua Lily's impression, Hua Fuya has never been the girl who would rather hide behind men. She prefers to fight side by side with Gu Chen. When something happened to the Hua family, she actually always hoped to use her own power to avenge the Hua clan and people. Even when Gu Chen destroyed the Emperor planet, the news spread throughout the galaxy through the interstellar network that day. Although she did not speak, but her expression at that time was very complicated, and she clearly regretted that she did not personally avenge the Hua family. For such a woman, Gu Chen now said that she would always be weak enough to need his protection under his wings. Thinking of this sentence, Lily began to shiver all over. She shook her body and shook off the ice stuck to her body. Because of her ice power, Lily's resistance to cold was far superior to ordinary people, but at this time she felt a chill coming from her. The pain in her solace made her unable to resist, and all the hairs on her body stood up. Hua Fuya couldn't be a woman who would hide behind Gu Chen and let him protect her. She was so proud and had innate dignity. How could she be willing to be the woman behind a man? It's ridiculous that Gu Chen, who thinks he loves her, doesn't understand Hua Fuya, who was his childhood sweetheart, so Lily took a slow and deep breath. This Hua Fuya is not normal. If she hadn't agreed to federal cooperation on a whim, hadn't unexpectedly met Hua Fuya, and hadn't accidentally learned this information from Gu Chen, she might not have discovered this. Hua Fuya was not normal. Even so abnormal that it seemed like a different person. Something must have happened in the middle. Unfortunately, the original owner died too early in the plot, and she knew too little information. There are no other problems. If Mr. Gu doesn't want to talk, then forget it. Gu Chen was already on guard against her at this time, and Gu Chen seemed to be very protective of Hua Fuya. At this time, she mentioned Hua Fuya again and again. Gu Chen was already a little impatient. The most important thing now is to find the Nai family. After this trip, Lily decided to go to the Star Alliance. She wanted to find out the reason for Hua Fuya's change. It was possible for a person to change so much inexplicably. Yes, but she always felt something was wrong, whether it was what Hua Fuya said when she first entered the mission, Hua Fuya's action of giving her to Xiaoyu, or the information she got from Gu Chen at this time, all confirmed it. Got this. At this time, Lily didn't want to arouse Gu Chen's vigilance, so she replied lightly. Gu Chen snorted, with a very unhappy expression. Don't worry about my housework. After warning, he saw that Lily remained silent, but there was still anger in his heart. What happened to the partner who was traveling with you this time? In the report, the Federation did not mention that additional people would join. Lily had just asked him so many personal questions. Gu Chen also wanted to retaliate against her at this time. Although some soldiers had already reported to him that Su Ying was Lily's husband, and his code name was Time, but when he thought about his wife Hua Fuya being treated as a prisoner by Lily, he raised questions for a long time. He was very unhappy and deliberately made things difficult for him to ask. Lily knew that he was not angry and did not conflict with him at this time. He is my husband. He came with me this time because he was worried about my trip to the Nye family. Because he is not the one the government requested to join this time, the Nye family is not as easy to deal with as the pirates you have dealt with in the past, so if there is an accident, I will not let anyone protect him. If necessary, if he delays everyone's legs, I will kill him, Gu Chen said coldly. Lily chuckled in her heart, but no sound came out of her mouth. If Gu Chen has the ability to kill Su Ying, she really wants to thank Gu Chen for helping her. She is worried that she can't find a way to get rid of Su Ying, the terrible time controller. If Gu Chen wants to provoke him, as long as it doesn't harm herself, Lily won't care. Seeing that she remained silent, Gu Chen felt as if a punch had been punched into cotton. He felt angry and disgusted, and his face looked even uglier than before. It's just that Gu Chen is a soldier trained by the Star Alliance. Even though his dislike for Lily has reached its peak at this time, under official business, he still suppressed the rejection and disgust deep in his heart and began to explain to her. This journey. About 15 years ago, the Nye family pirate group massacred the original inhabitants of a planet. The elites left over from the entire imperial planet have been transplanted to that planet. Because they were nominally expelled from the Federation, the Nye family was less burdened by the ordinary and incompetent people from the Imperial Star. The remaining ones were all elites, and their development in recent years was better than before. Even without federal surveillance. The Nye family unscrupulously researched a variety of new weapons and established secret bases on newly occupied planets. Call it the King's Revenge Plan. This is news from the Federation 8 years ago. I have passed it into your brain bank. Gu Chen finished speaking expressionlessly, and then called out his intelligence to record a lot of things he had just explained. The data is sent to Lily's wrist optical brain through intelligence. The Nye family's so-called King's Revenge Plan and the occupation of the galaxy broke the current pattern of conventional rule by the federal government, although these remnants of the former Emperor Star did not suffer much loss in strength due to the destruction of the Emperor Star. For these royal members of the Nye family, the scene when Gu Chen destroyed their home planet and chased them like bereaved dogs was still shocking. The people of the Nye family feel deeply ashamed, and they all look forward to the day when they can take revenge, so that the Nye family can return to the galaxy openly, instead of hiding in the dark and sneaking around. Because of the danger of the Nye family, after Gu Chen eliminated the Emperor planet that day, the federal government had always wanted to monitor them. It was just because the Nye family had many talents who were proficient in anti-tracking, so it was not always possible for the Nye family to seize planetary signals. It can be captured, and every time it takes a lot of time to break through the intelligent defense system where these signals appear. Sometimes it is difficult to break through the system defense, but in the end you will find that the Nye family has already sent the coordinate address once again. The Federation has refreshed and changed. In the past 20 years, the Federation has not given up researching the Nye family. In these more than 20 years, the Federation has not been without gains. They have developed the Nye family's intelligent defense method. The smartphone will change the password defense system approximately every 15 minutes. If the password defense system is not unlocked within these 15 minutes, the smartphone will automatically refresh a new defense system, and due to the attack, the system's defense it will get stronger every time. It is precisely because of this weird defense system that in the past 20 years, the federal government has not captured the location signal of the Nye family once, but because both parties have always had a tacit understanding, as if waiting for an opportunity, no unauthorized action. This time Lily mentioned that she wanted to search her home. For the federal government, it was just a matter of course. Gu Chen passed all the information he knew so far into Lily Ji's mind, and then he impatiently issued an eviction order. All the information and the list of the main prisoners that Nye escaped from that year have been compiled by the government and have been sent to your brain. If there is nothing else. He didn't really want to talk to Lily. It was obvious that Gu Chen was still worried about the unpleasant conversation before. Lily seemed not to see the obvious displeasure in Gu Chen's eyes and finished receiving the information. Master Gu once had the opportunity to fight against the Nai family. For you, what do you think is the most terrifying thing about the Nai family? Gu Chen was about to turn around and leave, but after hearing Lily's words, he hesitated for a while. Then he calmly replied. Science and technology. The Nai family's technology is the most terrifying. When I applied to the Federation to lead troops to attack the Emperor planet on the grounds that the Nai family violated humanitarianism, he said, paused, and suddenly his voice changed. You know how did you get the honor of being a 5-star general? After he asked, he seemed not to be prepared to wait for Lily to answer. In this world, the most indispensable thing is powerful people. Queen, you are very powerful, but the Federation, it doesn't necessarily mean that no one can beat you. For someone like me whose strength is rated as S+, there are more than 20 interstellar alliances and at least thousands of federations, but among these people, there are 5-star, the highest honor. But no more than 50. He stretched out his hand, gestured to the number 5, and then clasped his palms together. The reason why I can get the honor of this 5-star general is because during the attack on the Nai family's Emperor planet, I discovered that the Nai family has developed a new type of weapon that can kill people through sound waves, smell, etc. At the beginning, we led 10 warships and a total of 300,000 alliance troops. In the end, only 2 warships escaped. More than 200,000 people died in that battle. Gu Chen talked about what happened that year. His expression was very calm. Others only saw how happy I was when I attacked the Emperor planet. But they never thought that I narrowly escaped death, and this was only less than 1/10 of the Nai family's strength. I used dangerous weapons banned by the Galaxy Federation. When the Emperor planet was destroyed, I tried my best to snatch some information from the Nai family. I almost couldn't go back that time. But everyone in the galaxy only knows that he defeated the Emperor Star and returned victoriously to avenge his fiancée. Gu Chen, the son of the Minister of Military Affairs of the Interstellar Alliance, became famous all over the world in that battle. What a joy for a young hero. Even Lily never thought that Gu Chen would tell her such a secret past. Since the two met, the relationship between Gu Chen and her was not very harmonious, but now he was willing to tell herself this. Lily was hiding in the eyebrows under the ice and snow mask were tightly knitted and he made no sound. Gu Chen pursed his lips. Federal technology researchers are still studying some of the incomplete information I brought back, and have not fully developed this new weapon. In the face of technology, human capabilities are always insignificant. You don't have I have seen it, but I will never understand its horror. The technology of the Nai family is far ahead of other existences of the same level in the galaxy for more than 1,000 years. It was precisely because of my narrow escape that my wife knew afterward. Only then will you feel sorry for me and worry that when I face off against the Nai family again, I will never be able to go back. After he finished speaking, he stared at Lily seriously. So, I hope you don't fully understand a person before you understand him. Be able to be more calm when speaking, and don't hurt others. He said so much, but in the end it was just to prove that there was nothing strange about Huafui. Lily knew from the plot and Hua Lily's memory that Gu Chen had a deep love for Huafui. At this time, she felt it again. She was silent for a while and then nodded. Thank you for your explanation, she finished, then I'll say goodbye. After saying that, Lily turned and left. When she returned to the room, Su Ying was not in the room. Although he came with Lily, they were not that familiar with each other. She had just obtained information about the Nai family, and she entered the room at this time. He found a place to sit down and pulled out the information. The information in Guang's mind was very large. The identity information of the main figures of the Nai family, etc. were all official from more than 20 years ago. I'm afraid it would take 4 or 5 days to fully read them. Finally, what is the relationship between each of these people? Because the Nai family was controlled by the Federation in the past, most of the information was very complete. Lily turned it over and took a look. The situation of the Nai family was somewhat similar to the Hua family, but it was different. The Nai family is still a royal family. The members of the Nai family's royal family do not have any physical, mental, or bloodline advantages. As early as 1,000 years ago, the Emperor planet where the Nai family was located was actually an extremely weak planet. At that time, because they were unwilling to become it is one of the colonized planets affiliated with the Interstellar Alliance, so it insists on refusing to surrender. Because they did not receive huge support from the Interstellar Alliance, and the humans on the planet where King was located did not have any combat expertise, the Nai family had actually been bullied over the long course of time. Although the people on the Emperor planet do not have the same unique mental talent as the humans on Pluto, no one in their ancestors can even awaken supernatural powers. Even everyone in the galaxy is adapted to the physical training techniques that can be practiced. On the Emperor planet when practiced on people from other planets, the effect was much worse. However, the people obtained by the Emperor had an advantage that was rare among people from other planets, that is, they were very smart. The activity and development and application of the brain field. When ordinary humans practice physical skills and develop mental power, the brain usage rate can reach 30%. However, even if the Nai family cannot develop mental power, they can rely on their innate conditions. The activity and development and application of the brain field can reach more than 50%. It is even rare among the royal family to have a human whose development and application of the brain field reaches 80%. This kind of person is called by the Nai family new humanity, means that intelligence and achievements in certain aspects have completely surpassed that of ordinary humans. Because of the flexibility of their brains, the Nai family is unimaginably smart. When their own strength was not developed, the Nai family began to use external forces to research technology to protect the Emperor star. However, within a few hundred years, the Emperor star, which was not outstanding in the first place, the planet began to become famous in the world because of the advanced technology of the Nai family. The weapons produced by the Nai family are always far ahead of the Federation in terms of power and lethality. Even the photoelectric nano-defense system still used by the Federation is a product developed by the Nai family 100 years ago. The weapons developed by the Nai family can kill people invisibly. Among the information Gu Chen gave Lily, there was a scene that captured the scene when he was fighting with the Nai family. A large amount of light blue star-like light surrounded the battleship. As soon as the battleship was shrouded in this light blue starlight, just like a piece of ice cream left to bake in the hot sun, it quickly turned into nothing. Even warriors wearing soft mechas can't resist these light blue lights. These lights are not the rigidly defensive photoelectrics Lily saw when she was on the Twin Stars, but they seem to have come to life. Generally, they will move in the direction of the object. Gu Chen did not lie. In this expansion pack, which lasted less than 3 minutes, it only took more than 2 minutes for 7 battleships to be destroyed by these. The light blue light body was completely wiped out. Behind the data is recorded, geomagnetic capture of suspended mutated light bodies. Ingredients. Lethality, SS and level. In this federal top secret information at that time, these ingredients have not been completely deciphered, but the main idea of the later information is that these substances are harmful substances in the galaxy, but were collected by the Nai family in unknown ways, and for some reason they were studied. They have such radiation-like biochemical weapons that they can use. It's just that compared to radiation, these mutated light bodies are obviously much more lethal. Lily probably understood a little bit, but she couldn't understand some of the professional terms recorded in it at all. The large number of letters and code names made her temples jump, and she finally focused on the Nai family's main leader. On the characters. Like the Pluto Prince Xinghua family, the so-called royal family of the Nai family is actually composed of a group of fanatical scientists. Most of these people were born in the Nai family. The physical and mental strength of each person recorded in it is no more than a breakthrough. Sea level, but it is worth noting that after these people put on the soft mecha they made, their strength will explode to S and level or above, so the words unknown comprehensive strength evaluation are written at the end of these people's information. Among the recorded people, the number of Ni family members with royal blood does not exceed 500,000. For a planet that has developed for nearly 10,000 years, with the increase in human lifespan, this number is not that big a number. After all, the royal family is intertwined and has endless descendants, but the true direct line of the Ni family is the one with the most developed IQ and brain power. To be continued. P.S. 2 updates in one. It's the end of the month. Does anyone have a monthly ticket to give me AV?